Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby, Stanley, and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome into the Friday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. David Janes here with you on this Friday morning. Hope everybody is doing well. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Doing all right. Still enjoying the replay of that Parsonen goal.
My goodness.
What's up with that dude?
What a goal last night by Juuso Parsonen to win things in overtime for the Preds. David, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Just got my Grizz jersey on. Go Grizz, like always.
You feel good?
Big
you feel
weekend.
good about this matchup?
I do. Honestly,
Okay.
it's going to be a tough one, obviously, just because the Lakers, they get their – LeBron will get his calls. But I think that this team is still good enough to win the game just because of Jaren, Desmond Bane, and John Morant.
There you go.
Already ready for the refs to be cheating for LeBron.
Of course. Hey.
Already.
Listen, it's a Memphis staple. It's a Memphis staple.
Mentally prepared ourselves.
We say the refs suck all the time. It's just how it is.
Yeah, it's not confined to Memphis.
I know. But
Looking forward to that coming up this weekend as well. We'll get into that a little bit later here in the program. Preds win last night. Juuso Parsonen with the game winner in overtime. If you have not seen that goal, as Joe mentioned, go check it out because it's a pretty one. You'll want to go watch it. It was number 2 on the SportsCenter top 10. So what a goal from Juuso Parsonen last night between the legs for the game winner in overtime. It was a impressive display of losing someone in coverage by the Minnesota Wild, but they left him wide open. Ryan McDonough with a nice pass and between the legs from Juuso Parsonen. And I said this a few weeks ago. It's good that he's back in the lineup now, but like he's one of those guys that while all these injuries were taking place, of which he was a part of, and the trade deadline shipping some guys off, I would have liked to have seen what he could have done over the last few weeks because that dude has got some ability to him, and he put it on full display last night.
Yeah. I mean, if he's going to do that stuff, that's like Forsberg against the Avs in 2018 type stuff. I mean, it's not like it was like a breakaway and he had all this time. I mean, it was 3-on-3, like you said. He got loose. He was all alone, but I mean, it was bang, bang, and he just somehow made the decision to do that. I don't know why, but it was awesome.
I think the best part was the shoulder shrug after. He's like, yeah, put it in there. Game over. See you later.
Then he talked a lot of trash afterwards.
Yeah,
he really didn't.
Totally running his mouth after.
Yeah,
We need more of that in hockey. Just everybody needs to just – I keep waiting for somebody to score and just like slide by the opposing bench just looking up at them like this, but it never happens.
Someday. We'll get there someday.
We'll see what happens on that front. It was obviously the game itself doesn't mean anything for the Preds last night, and they'll close things out tonight against Colorado. By the way, that one does mean something tonight for Colorado. They're playing for the division tonight. So Dallas is at 108 points. They're 1 point ahead of Colorado. Colorado needs to have this one tonight against the Predators. So a meaningful game for the Avalanche tonight. We'll see what happens with the Preds and how they approach it and if they can put together another good effort after the one they had last night. But you got me thinking about yesterday. I'm watching this game, and I was thinking about next season, obviously, and what the lineup is going to look like. And, I went down some rabbit hole with the roster last night, and hopefully I don't think I've left anybody out, but I put together a 23-man opening night roster for the Predators based on the lineup currently as is. Are you ready for it?
No, hold on. I want to write this down.
Okay.
I want this to be documented in case you're right or in case you're really
Just
wrong.
incredibly off?
Either way.
Well, before I get to the lineup, for starters, like I did not include Zach Sanford or Michael McCarron or Kiefer Sherwood as all those guys are free agents coming up. So I have no idea whether or not they're going to be on the team. So those guys are unrestricted free agents coming up, so did not include those guys. But are you ready for my opening night lineup?
I'm ready.
All right, line 1 for next year. Philip Forsberg, Cody Glass, Matt Duchene. Philip Forsberg, Cody Glass, Matt Duchene, my line 1 for next year. Line number 2. This is where I had to get a little creative. Juuso Parsonen, Tommy Novak, Luke Evangelista. It's line number 2 for the Predators.
Okay.
Line number 3, Yakov Trenin, Ryan Johansson, Philip Tomasino. That is line number 3 for the Predators next year. Line number 4, Mark Jankowski, Colton Sissons, and the people's favorite, Cole Smith on line 4
There you
next
go.
year. On D,
I was going to say, if you don't have him in there, we're going to
it's
have
a
a problem.
problematic lineup. On D, I have Roman Josi and Alex Carrier playing together. I have Ryan McDonough and Tyson Berry playing together. I have Jeremy Lauzon and Dante Fabro playing together. And then I have Saros and Lankinen in goal. Extra forward is Rasmus Asplund, who they acquired from Buffalo, who's still on the team. And then 2 extra defensemen, Cal Foote and Jake Livingstone. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. That's one thing, like with Parsonen, as I've wondered, is like, is he better down the middle or not?
Probably is.
Yeah, but in your lineup, you take him out of there.
Eventually, I mean, can't take Novak out.
Yeah, no.
If Johansson's going to be on the team, he's going to have to play at center somewhere.
And that's the thing, I mean, that third line, that's intriguing to me. Johansson, Tomasino, Trenin.
Yeah,
I don't hate that.
I mean,
I don't hate that lineup.
Now look, there's a good chance. Oh, I mean, the lineup will not be that. I'm pretty confident that they're going to go do something.
There's going to be somebody we don't know. Yeah,
right. But I mean, there's a chance that maybe a Johansson or somebody else could be on the way out. Like that's as tonight comes and goes, and they finish things off here against Colorado, and you move ahead to the John Hines conversation, which we'll get back into here in just a few minutes. But the Barry Trotz part of this. How many guys that are currently on the team are you still looking to move out if you're Barry Trotz? And can you move anybody out? I mean, is there any appetite for a buyout from the Predators? Are you willing to retain any salary in a trade if you could force one of those things to happen? I mean, are there other veteran guys that you want to move on from? Like, I'd be interested to see what his approach is there, but that's kind of my first crack at people that I know as of this moment are under contract for next year. That's kind of the first crack at the lineup there.
It's not, and it's not I mean, it's one of those things where you look at everything, and again, things have to break your way. Like, is Evangelista ready for an 82-game season? I mean, and even Novak. I mean, that's a question for him too, but a little bit more for an Evangelista. One play.
Some bicycle kick in a soccer game somewhere.
Okay. They love soccer.
They love some soccer.
And baseball.
Yep.
But what if Duchesne is good next year? I mean, is Glass ready to be a number 1 center? I mean, there's a lot of things here that, like, they're not all going to break their way.
Yep.
But some could. And if you look at that lineup and you consider who's in goal, I mean, it could be a competitive team.
It could be. The defense part of it is interesting too because, like, I like the addition of Livingstone. We talked to David Poyle about that the other day. Basically kind of just fell in their lap after his college season, and he was really good in college. And so far, like, I've been relatively impressed with what he's done. I like Spencer Stasny. Like, I think he's played pretty well too. So, it's a very small sample size with those two in particular. I have no idea whether or not they're going to be ready for a full NHL season next year. But maybe some depth there that you weren't counting on before. And then there's the Fabro part of this as well. I mean, David Boyle told us earlier this week, did not have the year that they were hoping he would have. And you got another opportunity next year. I think they're going to re-sign Carrier. Like, he's a restricted free agent. I'm assuming that he's going to be back, but maybe he won't be. Like, maybe that's a decision. I don't know.
Maybe he'll demand that they call him Carrier, not Carrier.
Well,
maybe that's part of the terms of re-signing here. Yeah, I would think.
Carrier. For a lot of them.
Well, by the way, it is Livingstone.
Yeah.
David said Livingston the other day, didn't he? I think he did. I'm just saying. We need to work on these things, people. But, I mean, Fabro, well, interesting. What was the little tidbit we were talking about yesterday in our little text thread? Possibly, Poyle on a podcast talked about, one more move that he was going to make, which could be Fabro.
Could be. I mean, it could be Johansson, too.
Could be Johansson.
I mean, my first reaction, so it was from the Frankly Speaking podcast, which is part of Daily Face-Off, I believe. I assume with Frank Saravalli, but that's just my guess. I've never listened to the podcast. But there is the article that Michelle sent us yesterday from Daily Faceoff. It says, quote, Poyle said on a recent edition of Frankly Speaking that he had 5 goals for the deadline written on a piece of paper. He made 4 of them happen. What about the 5th? Quote, I can't tell you that because the player is still here. This is from David Poyle, which is, number one, an awesome line. But, yeah, like, Fabro was the first
probably
one.
One of those two.
Probably
right?
one of those two, be my guess. Like, to me, like, I think you had to know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, how could your goal be Johansson?
That's the thing. Like,
right?
if you're David Poyle, like, is Johansson really even worth writing down on a piece of paper? Because he knew that there's no way that he's going to get traded.
I'd like a pony for my birthday, you know? Come on.
Exactly. So, Fabro was the guy that came to mind. I mean, people forget, Jeff Merrick, who friend of the show, reported like the week before the trade deadline that like Dante Fabro is probably going to get moved, and I think San Jose was the team that he pointed out as that had shown some interest, and obviously it didn't happen. And not only did he not get moved, he got a contract extension the day of the deadline for 1 year. So I don't know what went down there. My guess, kind of reading between the lines, is maybe they looked around and didn't like what they saw in return and said, you know what, 1 year deal, we'll try it again next year, see if he can get a little better. That's just my guess, but I don't know.
And I saw Barry Trotz on with Joe. I didn't get the whole interview, but what I heard was very interesting. And it's one thing that Barry Trotz talked about on Jared's show yesterday was Fabro's improvement this year from him watching him kind of from afar early in the season and then how he's playing now. So I've heard stuff like that before, but maybe he's turned a little bit of a corner.
Yeah. JC on Twitter says Parsonen will be a stud for the Preds. That's from JC on Twitter. I like the ability. I like the size.
I do too. I like the demeanor too. He just has a little bit of, I don't like the post-game quotes. We got to work on those. But, like, you need to be talking trash after you score a goal like that,
Yep, no question about it. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, I said yesterday, if I had to guess right now, John Hines is probably back as coach of the Preds next year. I don't know that. That's just me speculating, but that's my guess, is that he's back next year. If he is, what will the reaction of the Predators fan base be? We'll get into that coming up next. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
White 85!
Every team needs a quarterback.
White 85! Take!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's time for Nashville Sounds Baseball with the Friday Fireworks Show. The Sounds take the field tonight at 6:35 against the Norfolk Tides. Gates open at 5:30, but stick around for the whole game to enjoy a post-game fireworks show. Tickets available now at NashvilleSounds.com.
This week at the Electronic Express Spring Clearance Event, get instant savings of up to 40% off in every department, including all 4K TVs, laptops and tablets, housewares, gaming consoles, speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 3 years free financing. Shop the Spring Clearance Event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, Robby Stanley here, and the NBA playoffs are here, and you can turn crossovers into cash with FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/Rob right now and place a $5 bet, and you'll get an instant $150 back in bonus bets, win or lose. So FanDuel, I've talked to you about it for a long time. They've got great promotions every single day. The app is safe and secure, and you get paid instantly. I like the Milwaukee Bucks coming out of the East, and I like the Phoenix Suns coming out of the West. But you can take it any way you want to take it. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Rob and sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet your first $5. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. You can see full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Got a gambling problem? Make sure you call the Tennessee Red Line today at 1-800-889-9789.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
What if you could do business without busy work? With Ramp, you can. Ramp is the future of finance with smart automation, corporate cards, and spend management. Just imagine, no more expense reports or shuffling wrinkled receipts. No more slogging through invoices or getting surprised by unexpected charges. Just your business's big idea with smart spend controls, automation that crushes busy work, and real-time insights so you can make it happen. In other words, Ramp completely reimagined finance to make it work for your business. Get set up, issue corporate cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes. See how Ramp does finance. Join today and get $250 just for signing up. Just go to ramp.com/offer. That's ramp.com/offer to get $250 for signing up. That's ramp.com/offer.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode
Every morning, first thing.
on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 1025 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 on the Nashville Predators. Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Mark from Nashville. Mark, good morning. How we doing?
Hey, Robby, Joe, got a couple of questions for y'all today. How y'all doing?
We're good, Mark.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, first of all, Robby, you were saying that you think John Hines will be back, but do you kind of think that Trotz may kind of pull a fast one and go with him pulling both job duties as a GM and a coach, and maybe he coach him for a year and maybe get him put into a system that he likes him to be in versus what Hines is in? Do you think he could maybe go with that?
I would be pretty surprised if that happened. I just think the jobs, there's too much involved in both jobs to do both at the same time in today's league. I mean, we've seen people do that before. I think Lou Lamoriello came down from being a GM and was the coach for a time, 20, 25 years ago. But I just think in today's game, you can't really do that anymore.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, got a big question for you. Really big question.
Uh-oh.
The other day, I'm going to quote Denny Green with you on this. You know Steelman is what you thought he was, but you let him off the hook, man. And you kind of let this man off the hook. You know, Joe, he texted me the other day when I said tough luck, Joe. He said it wasn't even close. That infuriated me, Joe.
I saw it.
Yeah, Joe, I took that personal. You know what, Joe? You can't let Steelman off the hook because, he wants to beat you down every time. He wants to be a 1,000,000 against you every time. We know this. You got to start getting that same process. Joe, you really didn't lose that debate. I mean, what Caroline kind of based it on, because I think I caught the last question was about if the Predators were going to make the playoffs, and I think you were kind of in between on it, and he kind of said, well, yeah, they'll make it, and boom, he wins. But I wanted to throw this out here today on Friday, April. I wanted to let Steelman, I know he's listening. He's probably at home drinking some coffee, eating his Captain Crunch and all this and that. But I want to address Steelman and say, hey, Joe, I wish you could set it up to where I can debate Steelman.
I want
to debate him. I want to debate him myself because I know I could beat him. I know I could beat him.
Oh, I agree.
But Joe, you got to let up off of. You can't let up off of him anymore, Joe. You know that. It wasn't
too
even
nice.
close. He's got that. Yeah, he got that arrogance about him. See, I like arrogant people because the way to beat them and catch their weakness, you beat them, man. You beat them down, Joe. That's what you got to do with Steelman, man. You can't let him off the hook anymore. I heard you on the phone the other day. On the radio, said, well, maybe, I'll let him win. No, Joe, never let him win.
All right.
Mark, thank you for the call.
Never let him win, Joe.
I hope you have a great
weekend,
Mark.
Weekend and stuff.
Right,
I'll talk to you on Monday.
Sounds good, Mark.
All right, see you later, man.
I'm 100% with Mark.
Never again.
No mercy.
No mercy. How many Baskin-Robbins jokes can I get in today while we have Jared on the phone?
We're going to find out.
31 maybe?
In about 40 minutes. We'll find out. Jared Stillman joining the program at 7 o'clock today. Looking forward to that. And Mark coming in hot this morning. Enjoyed that too.
That was pretty funny. Jared said not even close.
Yeah, not even close.
I responded on that too. I responded on that on the text line. I think I said Jared's never beaten anybody older than 4 years old in a sports debate.
Just
reality.
Beautiful. As always, we appreciate Mark for calling in.
Thank you, Mark.
So
it's tough, man.
Like I said, yesterday we had the John Hines discussion as to what has the back part of this season meant for him in terms of keeping his job. He's got 1 year left on the contract. Tonight's the final game of the regular season. So the evaluation period, if you're Barry Trotz, in terms of watching him on the ice and what his game plans and all those things look like it's at an end now. So you've seen it if you're Barry Trotz. You've been around it. What does it all mean for him? I think you and I both agree that if we had to guess, he's probably back next year would be my guess. So let's just say that he is. Let's say that Barry Trotz makes the decision to let John Hines play out the final year of the contract. And I say play out, he's coaching out. The final year of the contract next year. What's the reaction of the Predators fan base if that's the move? And how different do you think that reaction would be now as compared to maybe back at the trade deadline if we were having this same discussion about John Hines?
That's a good question. I think it would definitely be different. I think like you said yesterday, I think a lot of people thought the same way you did. I was thinking the same thing. Okay, well, this is probably it for Hines. Clean slate, new GM, new coach, all that. So then they play well down the stretch. It's interesting because Trotz didn't get a chance to evaluate. Some of the guys we're talking about, a lot of people in the text line right now are talking about get rid of Johansson. And I understand the sentiment. He didn't get the chance to see a lot of these, veteran, like him in particular, and Duchesne too much down the stretch because of injuries. But he did get to see John Hines and this team do more than you would have expected him to do. I don't have a great feel to answer your question. I mean, there are going to be people who are going to be like April is going to immediately angrily text in the text line, fire Hines, and some other people too. But sometimes it's really hard to gauge what the consensus is. I mean, I know Preds fans who don't really blame him, which is kind of along the lines of what I've been thinking. I mean, again, I think that so far John Hines in his tenure as an NHL coach has not had a great team to coach. He has not had a contender-level team to coach. So you can point to, like, what's he done? What has he ever achieved? And it's fair, but also I don't think he's had – like someone yesterday was like, well, look at New Jersey after he left. Like, well, it's not the same team. I mean, Taylor Hall had a great season when he was coaching them. There's been a lot of good young players who have come on the scene there. That's a totally different team, right? So it's one of those things where, I mean, at some point you do have to, I think, prove yourself as a coach and like have achievement in the league for people to want to keep you around. But I think you could still excuse a lot of that with him so far, and I don't think it's the end of the world if he coaches next year.
I don't think so either. Now, I do think, I don't know that it's necessarily going to be an excited reaction from the fan base if he's like, yep, he's coming back next year. Like, he's reached the point now where, I mean, he's got to prove something. Now, the one thing that is different is the younger guys have come in and they have played well, and the team decided to sell. Like they've gone in a different direction, and I think the fan base has responded to that. There's a little bit more energy with the fan base. I think a little bit more excitement about the direction of the team and all of those things than this time 3-4 months ago when you were just thinking, oh my gosh, like you got Mikhail Granlund on a long-term deal, Johansson, Duchesne, all these guys, all these veteran players, and you're stuck. And then Ronnie Hextall somehow took that Granlund contract that I think I'm going to bring up every day from here on out. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins didn't make the playoffs, which just makes it even better. But the point is the trajectory of the team is different, and I do think that some, and I've noticed some, that have been totally out on Hines that have reevaluated just based on the way the young players have played lately. And now some have not reevaluated, and they want John Hines gone, and they want Barry Trotz to go hire a different coach. I mean, Logan on the text line for his reaction, if John Hines comes back next year, quote, I would claw my eyes out. Let's try not to do that.
Wow.
But
at first he said I would clay my eyes out, which really sounds awful.
Yes.
Not that clawing doesn't.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in David. David, thanks for calling in. Good morning.
Hey, I think John Hines is going to be back next year, but with all these draft picks we've got now, Hines is going to want to pick players that fits his system. So it would probably be a good idea to get a new coach if you want a different system with all these new players coming in.
Okay, thanks for the call, David. I mean,
the system talk is always interesting to me.
Well, the system is interesting. Now, another thing to keep in mind, first off, Barry Trotz and David Poyle are going to be the ones drafted, along with, Jeff Kelty and Scott Nickel and all the scouting department they have. John Hines, I'm not saying he doesn't have a say in the draft process, but at the end of the day, it's not his decision who they draft. The other part of that is, it's different than the NFL. You're not drafting for a system if you're an NHL team because, if you draft somebody you really like in the second round, it may be 3 years before you ever see them. You're not drafting for a system in the NHL. You're drafting the player and what you think they could be.
I need someone to tell me, and I know that there are teams that play different ways, but I need someone to tell me the two spectrum, the one end of this spectrum, the other end of the spectrum in the NHL system.
Right.
Because I would tell you that there's not that big of a difference. There are different ways to do things, different types of coverages, and things like that. But even within that, coaches tweak that at times and change it up. First off, if you're a great hockey player, then we'll see that in the NHL.
We've talked about this before. A lot of hockey is reading and reacting. Now, systems are important, and everybody's got a system in place. And
structure.
Your structure in the neutral zone of how you're defending coming through there. On the power play, what formation are you running? Do you have positions? Are you positionless and you just kind of float? There's a lot of different nuances to it, and I'm not saying that every team's the same, but I do think that gets way overblown a lot of times. Way overblown.
Hines has some system. Again, I go back to Laviolette getting fired. Man, what's the guy's? Is it Blake McCurdy or whatever? Sent me so many blobs.
Yeah.
Here, look at these blobs. This proves to you that Peter Laviolette doesn't know anything about hockey. I'm like, I just see blue blobs. What are we talking about here?
God bless analytics.
Yeah, I think system is definitely overblown. I think that some of the Hines thing, I think some of what Hines or why some people are down on Hines relates to a call we had yesterday.
We'll get into that coming up next. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. If John Hines remains as head coach of the Predators, what would your reaction be? 615-737-1025. We'll continue that discussion coming up next. Speaking of the Predators, season tickets for the Preds 2023-24 season are on sale now. Preds will be celebrating their 25th anniversary throughout the next season. Full, half, and quarter season plans are available, and you could join the Loyal Legion today and receive the best seat locations at the best pricing, up to 50% off discounts on concessions throughout the whole season, and up to 6 bonus tickets to select games in the 2023-24 season as well, plus priority access to the 2023 NHL Draft and awards, both of which are hosted in Nashville coming up here in just a few months. You can learn more at NashvillePredators.com/season tickets. Once again, that's NashvillePredators.com/season tickets.
It's the final week of the regular season for the Nashville Predators.
And the shot is scored! Predators, Kelly on the power play.
As they return home to Bridgestone Arena.
That's what this time of year is about. You want to be able to enjoy it.
Puck is blasted at Saros and makes the stop.
We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring store-wide sale is coming. April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. 3 incredible days of store-wide savings. Up to 35% off engagement rings, earrings, bracelets, wedding bands, plus special financing. Even Genesis GIA-certified diamonds are marked down. Lab-grown diamonds, too. Plus, top jewelry designers are flying in with all new amazing designs. You can't miss this annual event. Save up to $10,000 on some items. It's April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd only. And only at Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited limited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Nice run. It's great being back out on the mountain. You sort of disappeared for a while. Everything okay? Between you and me, it was lower testosterone. Lower T? Yeah. The doc told me once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to stay in shape. That's why I started taking Nugenix Total T. It's made a huge difference.
Oh, I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
For sure. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster. It boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. My wife, my boss, my kids, everyone has noticed a change in me.
Do they still give out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yes, just send them a text.
Guys, text HEFTY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back in shape fast, absolutely free. Text HEFTY to 321-321. That's HEFTY to 321-321.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Saturday.
Launches high and deep to left center field. Back it goes and gone. Byron Buxton.
Comebacker. Walker knocks it down. Everybody's going to be safe. 2-0 New York.
It's a battle in the American League as the Minnesota Twins head to the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees. Coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Make sure you don't miss Nashville's best NFL draft coverage on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. You can join Jared Stillman, Derek Mason, and Chris Sanders as they broadcast live from Twin Peaks in Cool Springs, home of the 29-degree beer, on Thursday, April 27th. Looking forward to that. Less than 2 weeks away from the first round of the NFL draft. So, Joe, we're getting there.
Finally.
Almost there. Making it there. Taking your thoughts on the Preds, 615-737-1025. What will your reaction be if the Predators decide to retain John Hines as head coach? And, Joe, you brought up a text that we got yesterday that has been an interesting point on this topic. What we got?
Well, actually, a call from Adam who kind of pointed to Hines, like Hines's demeanor behind the bench, very stoic.
Yep.
Yeah, I think in general, press conference is very even keel, very low key, right? I think some people, and again, whatever your demeanor is, your personality is, if you win, people will like it, and if you don't win enough, people will find a reason. But I do think that also you compare him to the last guy, who on the bench could be very, very fiery at times.
He could.
And pump his, I love you, like,
Although we did get a real nice fist pump from John Hines after the Calgary game.
You're right. No, you're
just
absolutely
saying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, here and there. Yeah, you see it. But, yeah, like not a ton of emotion from him. So some people, it rubs them the wrong way. But, again, rubs them the wrong way because they're not getting the results. Stephanie says, who are you going to get to replace Hines? Everyone wants him gone, but who do you get to replace him? And I said, look, again, like if Trotz has had an idea of that, okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
If not, then that's why I think we're both kind of the mind that Hines coaching out his final year makes sense. You're in this transitional period. We don't know what the team will look like. The lineup you made out looks okay. I mean, I could see it being a decent lineup, but, I still think it's an evaluate within that lineup. There's a lot of questions of guys. What are you doing in an 82-game NHL season right now?
For sure.
At your age and all that stuff. So, and there's definitely a lot of hire Carl Taylor. I get that. But Stephanie also says, yeah, exactly. Hypotheticals like this is one of the reasons I avoid Twitter. Between Preds, Twitter, and Facebook fan pages, my head's about to explode with the lunacy surrounding this topic. So basically, yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of Carl Taylor, which we're getting.
Oh,
we get every day.
We get every day.
And then you have a little Joel Quenneville in there too.
Oh,
so
God.
man, can we come up with a third name? Anybody?
We got to stop with the Joel Quenneville stuff, guys. It's not happening.
Yeah. Drop the Quenneville. Is there? I'm trying to think. There's always a recyclable coach out there. There's always some recyclable NHL coaches.
Go
out
get
there
Bruce Boudreau.
There you go. See that? Thank you. You just did it. That's the name.
There's the third one. James on the text line says, Johansson, it's time to go. Condition of Hines' continued tenure, the power play must drastically improve. A top 10 power play, and we're playoff bound. Tyson Barrie helps a great deal in this area. This is from James on the text line. That's the thing. I mean, they had the top 10 power play the whole year last year. They made the playoffs, and power play at times was a struggle this year, and they're not in the playoffs. It's not as simple as just that, but I agree. Like, you gotta fix it as you move forward.
How is that a condition for Hines?
Well, that's the thing. Like, how do you know that right now? Like, as long as the power play is in the top 12,
John,
you can be the coach.
I know that this year you stopped working on the power play. Yeah, you need to work on it again next year. You need to care about it next year, please, John. I mean, obviously. If they had a great power play under John Hines, what does that mean? Is that credit to him?
I mean, I would think so.
If they have a bad power play under John Hines, is that blame to him? Yeah, I think so too, but how can you – obviously it's the power play is a very delicate – it's like it's almost like the Irish pudding that we make for Christmas, It's like the souffle. Like if you mess anything up at all, it just goes. But if it magically works, it all just comes together. It's stuff that's hard to put your finger on sometimes.
Ryan in Nashville on the text line says, I would be irritated if they kept Hines, knowing that Carl Taylor would probably be going to another team like Dean Evison did. Also, my jersey would just be updated to Fire Hines number 24. This is from Ryan in Nashville on the text line. Look, that's the other thing that I feel like I need to address here. Like, I think there's this idea that it's just like a foregone conclusion that at some point this offseason, Carl Taylor's getting hired as a head coach somewhere. And I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I like Carl Taylor. I think Carl Taylor is a good coach, and I think Carl Taylor probably will be a head coach in the NHL one day. All those things are true. Like, I don't think that there's like some immediate ticking clock on him that he's just automatically going to get a head coaching job this offseason. Number one, you just brought it up. You know how hard it is to get a head coaching job in this league because they keep hiring the same people over and over and over again?
Exactly.
Like, it's hard to do in this league. And there are other really good young coaches out there, too. It's not just Carl Taylor. So, like I said, I like Carl Taylor. I really do. I think he's a good coach. I think one day he'll probably be an NHL head coach. I don't know that I buy that he's just automatically getting a job somewhere else this offseason.
Yeah.
I say young coach. He's 51. So, I mean.
Well, it's young, man.
I'm just saying.
It's young. Come on. Yeah. When I'm trying to think, what's the coaching cycle looking like this year? I mean, are there people who are going to lose their jobs here right as things end? Who are we looking at?
There's a former Nashville Predators coach that I think might lose his job here at the very end. Peter Laviolette.
There's one.
Maybe he won't, but I would be surprised if he doesn't.
There'll probably be at least two or three.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm going to watch carefully and see as soon as those initial lists come out, if any of them put Carl Taylor on it. Now, again, these are media lists, but they are a lot of times generated, with reporting.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, Carl Taylor, it's also, I think he deserves a lot of credit, right? But it's funny to me that some people want to give him now this is Carl Taylor, and these guys were in Milwaukee, okay? So if they do well here, does that have anything to do with the coaches here or no?
I mean, you would think it would.
Again, I understand the Tolvanen discussion, letting him go and all that stuff, and I still think over time, like, he's going to be a decent player for Seattle, but I don't think he's setting the world on fire in Seattle. But still, I get it. Like, that's fair. I mean, that's a fair criticism. They did not figure out a way to unlock his talents.
Yes.
But there are other players that they have.
Right. It's a complicated discussion because I'm with the people that say, like, how long is John Hines going to get the benefit of the doubt of the roster, right? Like, at some point you've got to prove that you can take a team and that you could do something and that you can overachieve and that you can get in the playoffs and you can make some noise. Like, that's got to happen at some point.
But does 2 years ago count at all?
I mean, yes, but they lost in 6 games in the first round, right? Like, it's just
like I would say they overachieved in that series against that team.
I would agree.
They didn't win, so you don't win, you don't win. So
right.
I get it, but I think they performed well.
I would agree, but that's not ever going to get it done in NHL coaching. Like, you gotta win, and that's what it is. So I understand the thought process of go find somebody else. Like, you're in a transition period with your franchise. Go find somebody else to kind of lead the next wave here. And look, maybe that's what the Predators do. I just have the feeling that they're bringing John Hines back. I don't know that, but that's the feeling that I have. But maybe Barry Trotz feels differently about it. Maybe he does have somebody in mind, or maybe he doesn't, and he just feels like they need a new voice or a new direction or whatever it is. I have no clue what his evaluation of John Hines has been. But I do think that for whatever reason, with a lot of the fan base, John Hines reached the point where whatever good happened here, it was somebody else's credit, and whatever bad happened here, it was his fault.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think that part of it is fair.
Yeah, like there's just people that are just out on him, and so if you're out on him, you're gonna spin everything. You're gonna spin everything against him. So, and look, like I said, I'm with you. Like at some point, you have to achieve. Here's the thing: if John Hines keeps the job for one more year, I think the one thing I would definitely shout down right now is the idea that like somehow this is going to, screw them up long term or something. Again, talking like system or like player lack of development. If Luke Evangelista is going to be a great player, or if he's not, or whatever he's going to be, like John Hines being his head coach next year is not going to be like some issue for him. Okay?
No.
So if it's one more year, play out the contract, transition, and then decide, okay, there's got to be a better coach out there who can take this team to the next level, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think so. Hey, look, we've talked about the Carl Taylor thing. Maybe Barry Trotz looks around and says, I really like Carl Taylor. Maybe they could. I don't know. I have no idea what Barry Trotz thinks about Carl Taylor. I'm just saying, like, the obvious pointing to him as if he's just going to be snatched up by somebody else and it's automatic that that's going to happen, I don't really understand. Maybe it does. Like, I'm not saying he can't get hired away and that nobody would want him to be their head coach. Maybe somebody does, but like there's this idea out there that, the Predators have to do something with him or they're going to lose him. And I don't know that I buy that.
But, hey, I ripped on a lot of you who said John Robinson should be fired last year, so what do I know?
We ripped on a lot of you the day that John Robinson got fired. Said he wasn't going to get fired.
And then he did.
Then he did. So
how about that?
615-737-1025.
Carl Taylor, next Preds head coach, everybody.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, it's time for Call Your Shot Friday here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your bold predictions. You can have a Preds flavor to it, NFL draft, Nashville SC, whatever you want to do, it's on the table for Call Your Shot Friday. 615-737-1025 on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
When it comes to Nashville sports,
locking up Jeffrey Simmons, clearly that was a priority for them.
He knows his stuff.
A little bit good, a little bit bad.
And knows how to push the right buttons.
He's coming off an ACL tear, and he's 25 years old, so you cannot ignore that.
Join Outkick's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company. Withrow.
What I hate more than anything is people that are phony and not true to themselves.
Is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
40 spas on display from Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select.
Prices starting as low as $29.99.
Family Leisure has over 100 sets of patio furniture with free delivery.
That sounds good to me, too.
We should really look at the wood play gyms for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. Family Leisure's vacation at home sale in Franklin and Antioch.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Do you take pride in your work? Do you want to help build Nashville? Need to join Ironworkers Local 492. They build Nashville, working on everything from steel erection on buildings and bridges, plant maintenance, concrete, reinforcing, conveyor work, sheeting, welding, rigging, fence erecting, curtain wall, window wall, and a variety of other specialty work. They provide the best skilled iron workers for contractors and projects in Nashville. If you want to build Nashville, you want to be proud of doing it, visit ironworkers492.org. Join Ironworkers Local 492.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-484-5131 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-484-5131. That's 800-484-5131. What do you have to lose? Call 800-484-5131. Again, 800-484-5131.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The sports weekend has arrived. You know what that means.
Shoot your shot.
It's time for Call Your Shot Friday with Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And it is that time of the day, time for Call Your Shot Friday here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your bold predictions on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, how did we do last week in Call Your Shot Friday?
Well, let's see here. I know we've been having some long-term shots, so every week, you know, we got to go back at some point, especially like draft week. And
tally them up.
Yeah, tally them up. But I had a shootout win for the Preds at Winnipeg with Yakov Trenin getting the decisive goal. Did not happen. I did say that the Preds will lose out this week on the playoffs, so I'm right there.
Way to go.
I also said, thank you. I also said the Golden State Warriors are winning it all.
You did say that.
So
Boo.
We'll see about that. I said Vanderbilt baseball will match the Vols for the best start in SEC history at 12-0. They did not. And then that they would exceed it against South Carolina, which starts today, but that did not happen. They won 2 of 3 from Missouri, but lost 1.
Yep.
Michelle, Preds. Well, okay, she says Preds. Why do I type poorly when Michelle talks? I don't know. I guess she's saying they were going to win all 4, and Saros will have 2 shutouts in the
I believe that is exactly what she said, yes.
Yeah, so did not happen. Preds get in the playoffs and beat Vegas in the first round. All 5 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL draft go in the top 15. See, there's one we got to remember.
Okay.
And then Hunter Dickinson will go to Kentucky. Now, that's an interesting one. Maryland is making a real push. Of course, he's from Maryland. So Maryland is making a run at Hunter Dickinson. So
there you go.
We'll see. But Kentucky could still get him. You had Scotty Scheffler winning in a playoff with Brooks Koepka in Augusta.
Nope, did not happen.
Hendon Hooker drafted by the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. You had the Preds beating Winnipeg and Calgary to set up a huge week at home on WHMR.
Yes.
And you had a 2-1 win specifically at Winnipeg. And you also had Trenton with the goal scorer and then Tomasino. So we had a lot of Trenton shots last week. So,
Didn't
there
work.
you go. Yeah.
Did not work. All right, let's get rolling this week. David James, do you have any called shots this week?
Yeah, of course. As the Memphis fan here in Nashville Sports Radio, I will call I have 2 shots.
Okay.
One, Jaren Jackson Jr. will have a career game. He'll score 45 points.
Whoa.
Sunday.
Woo!
45. I like that.
And the Grizzlies will win in 6.
Okay.
Grizzly beat the Lakers in 6. Okay.
All right. I like that. 45 from Jaren Jackson.
That would be – he's hitting some threes.
He can. So
he can. Oh, yeah. No, he can go off, man.
There we go. Any more call shots?
Jaren Jackson fan.
The Titans will draft Jackson Smith in Jigba.
Okay. Jackson Smith and Jigba. There we go.
JSN. All right.
Joe Rexrode, your called shots of the week.
Okay. I'm going to start with a guest called shot because I missed his texts. I missed his text during our last segment. So here we go. This is a guest called shot from Adam Vingan. The called shot is the next Preds coach this offseason is Spencer Carberry.
Okay.
Spencer Carberry, assistant coach in Toronto.
Yep.
He was in the minors. He was the coach of the Capitals AHL team when Trotz was the Capitals coach. He has been the ECHL coach of the year. He has been the AHL coach of the year. He's young. Vingan thinks he's in his early 40s. We can look
41.
that up. But basically, he would be like kind of that up-and-coming young coach like Barry was when he was hired here long ago by David Poyle. So there you go. Spencer Carberry's Adam Vingan's called shot to be.
I like it. I guess called shot.
That's a heck of a called shot by Adam Vingan. And then mine are all boring by comparison. Andrew Wiggins double-double in Game 1 for the Dubs.
I like
coming
that.
back. The Devil Rays will break the MLB record today by getting to 14-0, and they will get it all the way to 17-0. Right now they're tied with the Braves, 82 Braves, 87 Brewers at 13-0. And the Bruins, I may have said something like this before, but whatever. I'll say it again. The Bruins will not make the conference finals.
Okay. The Bruins will not make the conference finals after winning 65 games in the regular season and 135 points.
I mean, it's almost not a shot because, we all know it's coming, right?
Oh, man. It's going to be funny. All right, my called shots. The Edmonton Oilers are winning the Stanley Cup. The Edmonton Oilers are winning the Stanley Cup. I know there's Colorado. I know that there's Boston in the East. I know there's a lot of teams in the East. I like it. I like Edmonton. I think they built their team well. Their goaltending sucks. I realize that. I think they figured out a way to defend well enough where when Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are putting up 4 points a night, they'll be fine. So I'm going Edmonton winning the Stanley Cup.
The Ekholmton Oilers.
Yes.
How about that?
I do wonder how many Predators fans are rooting for them.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should root for the Oilers. I'm rooting for them.
I think you should, too.
That'd be a blast.
Jalen Hyatt will be drafted by the New York Football Giants. Jalen Hyatt drafted by the New York Football Giants. And by the time we do Call Your Shot Friday next week, Joe Rexrode, the Aaron Rodgers trade to the New York Jets will be complete. He will be a New York Jet by this time next week that we do Call Your Shot Friday.
Is that a shot?
Which is feeling.
I guess that's a shot because it feels.
Some
like
people feeling like it's not going to happen at all.
That would be now. That's the shot.
That's the shot.
But
I'm not quite willing to go there.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be good. That'd be good to get that done. Then Titans fans don't have to worry that Ryan Tannehill's off to New York.
Yes. Matt from DC on the text line says his called shot. The Titans will be drafted and trade back to in the early 20s. And collect more picks this year and a second round next year. So I guess saying trading back in the first round to take an offensive tackle a little bit later in the first round, which would be, I think, underwhelming for some Titans fans. But it could happen. We'll see. Trading back to go get a tackle at that point. Johnny on Twitter calling the first round upset in the Stanley Cup playoffs of the New York Islanders taking down the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round. So that matchup.
I like it, man.
It's Carolina, New York, and it's Boston taking on Florida in the first round.
Like you said, I mean, Carolina, that was your champion pick this year?
It was.
But Svechnikov's
out. Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's a total game changer in a bad way.
I think that they'll probably take care of the Islanders. But that's why it's Call Your Shot Friday.
That's right. It's a good called shot.
I got a text that says, I've been telling y'all that the Titans are taking Jackson Smith and Jigba. It's like, well, that's okay. More than one people can have it.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is not – yeah, I mean, he's logical.
Mark from Ashland City says, called shots. Edmonton will win the Cup. The Titans will trade up for Anthony Richardson. Memphis wins the NBA title. This is from Mark from Ashland City on the text line.
Whoop that trick.
That would be – there you go. That would be fun.
What a interesting time around here it would be if the Titans trade up for Anthony Richardson, and then a few weeks later, Memphis wins the NBA title. What a time in this state.
It'd be a parade inside my city.
Yes, it would.
Hey.
I do want, and we'll get into the Grizzlies-Lakers game coming up in weekend winners, but I do wonder, it's the Grizzlies versus LeBron, so there's some natural intrigue there in the playoffs. At what point is Nashville just bought in to the Grizzlies run? Is it conference final? Do they have to make it all the way to the NBA final?
I think they have to make it to the NBA.
I think had they beaten the Warriors last year, I think it was already there was some momentum. I think that would have been you would have noticed it around here.
Could be.
So I think conference final, certainly NBA finals.
I got a text that says Memphis is getting swept by LA. I think it's the same person who said that yesterday.
Yeah, we got
a Lakers arguing with me about play-in games who didn't know that play-in games don't happen when they don't have the same record. They're just actual play-in games, and the NBA is doing that now. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth.
You're really tough on this texter.
Well, I mean, look, if you're going to text in yelling at me and complaining about, well, they got the same record, that's why they do the play-in games, be smarter. It's not much to ask, I don't think.
Well, but you know what?
They're Laker fans,
If he ends up being right about the Lakers sweep,
yes,
that's redemption. So.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Jared Stillman. We'll get his thoughts on the John Hines situation and his thoughts on the Titans leading up to the draft as well, and his victory over Joe Rexrode in Jared versus Joe earlier this week. All that ahead. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Are you going to pay $20.2 million for someone who's struggling this much to stay healthy?
And your source for Nashville sports.
The players got to play better, and they're the ones actually out on the court, and they got to execute.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland is a fun new concept by celebrity chef Sean Brock, inspired by his love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. Get half off a $30 gift card at theGameNashville.com/deals and enjoy the best burger in town. Find some joy today and eat Joyland for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. That's theGameNashville.com/deals.
Baby metal. Death Clock. The Baby Clock Tour 2023. September 5th, Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Baby Metal, Death Clock, one night together live with special guest Jason Richardson. On sale this Friday, 10 a.m. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Nashville Predators are back in action tonight hosting Minnesota. The Preds have 2 games remaining in the season after being officially eliminated from the playoffs earlier this week. Puck drop for Preds versus Wild is set for 7 with pregame at 6 right here on the Preds Radio Network. In some other NHL news, the Chicago Blackhawks announced today that longtime Preds nemesis Jonathan Toews will play his final game with the franchise tonight as the two sides will part ways after the season. The first round of the NFL draft will officially begin 2 weeks from tonight. It's been assumed that quarterbacks will go with the first 2 picks to Carolina and Houston, but ESPN's Adam Schefter says perhaps not.
I think there's a lot of conflicting signals and information out there about what Houston is going to do at 2, and I think a lot of people have assumed it's just going to be a quarterback, and in the end, I'm just not convinced just yet that that's going to be the case.
And the Nashville Sounds are back in action tonight hosting Norfolk. Coverage begins at 6:20 on your home of the Sounds, 94.9 The Fan. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Blue Verne.
Robby and Rexrode. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Base.
Stone and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
1025 and 1063.
Cranks it, he scores. On both sides of the ball. One big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour 2, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, David Janes here with you on this Friday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025. As we do every Friday morning at 7 o'clock, we welcome in our good friend Jared Stillman to the program here on this Friday morning. Jared, congratulations on snapping the losing streak and taking down Joe Rexrode on Wednesday. What a performance by
it
you.
Was a complete and total domination. It's good to be back in the win column. Couldn't have done it, without the team. I'm just so thankful for, honestly, for my ability to overcome Joe's winning streak, which I thought, not to sit here and cry about the referees, but I thought it was a little ill-founded. So I'm glad to be back on the right side of the ledger.
Jerry, we've been discussing the John Hines situation. Obviously, Preds season coming to an end tonight, and Barry Trotz has a decision to make on the future of John Hines. Number one, what do you think happens there? Do you think he's back next season as head coach? And if he is, what do you think the reaction of the fan base will be?
So I asked Barry, about that yesterday, and I felt like, I think like you could understand this maybe better than other people because there's so many things going on at one time, especially with a long talker like Barry when it's a time segment. So I'm kind of like, trying to manage that and also managing the next question and like listening to what he's saying and, all at one time. So I heard what he said about John. It felt very non-committal, but I need to go back and listen to it, kind of like a Talmudic scholar or something and see if I can pick out something that Barry hinted at one way or another. I have no idea. Like I really, I did not get a vibe from Barry. I say that, and Caroline texted me and thought that what Barry said meant that Hines is gone. So, I think that everybody's reading it different ways. Personally, I'm torn. Like, it's a very un-Predators thing to do to fire the coach, and Hines has done a good job in the second half of the season, but I think just personally, Barry may be of the mindset to get somebody else in here. And I also wonder, too, because I didn't ask it directly like, so you're going to fire the coach? But, I think I made it like pretty obvious that I was asking whether or not they were going to fire the coach. And I think if Barry knew he was going to bring John Hines back, wouldn't he have said it? Or really given the strong endorsement for it. So I think I would say right now, and again, I have to go back and listen to it, 55% gone, 45% stays. So it's not very committal there.
So I didn't hear this. So you didn't just ask a question. You danced around with some weak ass stuff. Like what did you do?
Maybe you should listen to it and then you can judge.
Well,
it.
why don't you recreate it for us? I mean, you're already going to go back through and listen and find some syllable in the way it's pronounced. And,
I thought it was a fine question.
Turned on our
I mean, isn't it kind of your job, Joe, to listen to these things? I mean, not only are you on the radio, and this is you're going to talk about the hockey team, and he is the future general manager.
It is not
of the
my
team,
job to listen
and
to
he
you.
did
Absolutely
do a
not,
30-minute
and it
sit-down,
never will be.
And you are the columnist for The Athletic, and you're the only person there who writes about the Predators, even though I pay like $7 a month for one person to write like one article every 2 weeks on the teams that I care about. Don't you? Isn't it your job to listen to that stuff?
No, absolutely not.
I did, Robbie.
This is between you.
In fact, now I'm not going to out of spite.
I thought it was a fine question.
So you can either answer my question. You can answer my question.
To not listen to it, but I also think it's a bad job as a columnist.
I mean, you think it's a bad job as a columnist to not listen to your freaking interviews, dude?
I mean, if you're a columnist and you say,
actually, as a columnist, I think
to listen to Jason Fitz on the program, that's one thing. It's another thing when it's Barry Trotz and the team is about to have a massive overhaul.
Yeah. Well, if anything came of it, I'm sure that I would have listened to it, Jared. But actually, I think that part of a job requirement for a columnist in the town should be do not listen to Jared Stillman's interviews. If there's anything you do, don't listen to Jared's interviews.
Then why does every columnist in town listen to the show?
What?
Every columnist. You listen to the show, Gentry listens to the show, and those are the only two columnists we have.
Every single one? Oh, my God. I don't even go ahead. Ask Jared a question. I don't have one for him.
Wait, why don't you go do some homework, Joe? Why don't you go in the back and listen to the interview, and then maybe you can write a column for us.
I actually was going to go back, but I'm not.
Now it's just out of
sympathy for columnists because I do 16 of those a day by myself. You crank out one every 2 weeks, and I pay $8 a month for it. It's ridiculous.
You say you do 16 columns a day with your verbal diarrhea on the mic? Oh, my God.
That's
just enough.
Same thing,
enough
Joe.
out of you.
The only difference is for some reason columnists have to go sit at the game and then, watch it from the 900 level and then write about it, as opposed to me that sometimes just watches it on TV and then goes on there and does 16 of those a day.
Yeah. I prefer watching things from the 900 level. That's just me. Jared, your thoughts on Will Levis?
Brilliant takes.
Yes. Your thoughts on Will Levis as a potential fit for the Titans at quarterback. He visited this week. We've heard from a lot of people that really don't like the idea of the Titans drafting Will Levis. What do you think?
So Titans fans hate Will Levis. I mean, I think Titans fans overwhelmingly hate Will Levis, and I think they also hate Anthony Richardson. I don't think they hate Anthony Richardson as much as they hate Will Levis. I'll put it to you like this. I don't know the personalities of these guys, and that is by far the most important part. So if it's like Anthony Richardson, and I think they should trade up and draft them, and then he ends up being Kyler Murray and sits there and plays video games all day, well, there's no way that I would have of knowing that. So it's like the big asterisk at the beginning I'm going to put here. I mean, if you're sitting at 11 and Will Levis is there, I don't think it would be a horrible pick. I don't think he's particularly awful. I thought he had a bad season, and I was very disappointed by it. But I also do think that, Will Levis does have considerable talent, and people that I trust, like Bill Polian, say that he is legitimately a first-round player. So if you take a first-round quarterback in the first round, and I learned this when the Giants took Daniel Jones, and they had the 17th pick in the same draft, and I was like, why would you take Daniel Jones at 6 when you could have taken him at 17? And Floyd was like, he's first-round quarterback. And all that matters is that if you get a first-round quarterback, that you take him in the first round. So Will Levis, according to Bill Polian, is a first-round quarterback, and I'm not going to disagree with that. I really am intrigued by Anthony Richardson. I thought Anthony Richardson, and I barely watched Florida play this year, but I thought he stunk. And then, first of all, I thought he was awesome in the Utah game, and then I thought he stunk. And then the draft season started coming, and I had this neck spasm, and I couldn't sleep one night, so I watched a bunch of Anthony Richardson games. And I'm like, this guy is freaking awesome. Like, the way he can throw the ball with minimal effort and launch it 75 yards and sometimes hit a receiver perfectly in stride. His testing is unbelievable. He's incredibly young. If you look at the numbers at his age 20 season, they're really not that far off from a Josh Allen or a John Elway or even Joe Burrow's age 22 season. TD actually did this yesterday, and he compared Joe Burrow's first year at LSU, his age 22 season, to Richardson last year at Florida. And I actually had the numbers in front of me because TD was like, I have quarterback 1 and quarterback 2, and I'm like, the first one's Joe Burrow, the second one's Anthony Richardson. So I really do like the talent of Anthony Richardson. But to your point, Titan fans hate Will Levis, and I understand why they hate Will Levis, but I would just say, Josh Allen got his rear end spanked, I think, by like Northern Iowa or something like that. So let's not get too carried away when saying these guys suck. John Elway was 4-7 as a junior, and I believe he was 5-6 his last year at Stanford. Like, let's not get too carried away with this guy didn't win, so he's not going to be good in the pros.
JC in Goodlettsville has a good point. Jared complains about being a long talker? That's a very good point, JC. Okay, Jared, so this neck crimp is why you flip-flopped on Richardson? Like, I mean, you totally flip-flopped on this idea of, like, how could you gut yourself with your picks and move up to get someone like him? And now you would do that.
No. The neck cramp happened like 2 months ago. I think for me, the one thing I keep thinking about is when I listen to these former general managers talk, like Rick Spielman and Bill Polian, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I think I'm pretty well-versed in former GM talk. And so when I listen to these guys talk about how elite of a prospect Richardson is and his talent, all I think back to is all the complaining Titan fans do about the fact that their quarterback isn't good enough to compete with the top talented quarterbacks in the league, the Mahomes and the Allens and the Burrows. Well, you're not going to get a Joe Burrow, so forget about that. But, I mean, Kansas City was willing to take a risk on a guy and move up for a guy who had an immense amount of talent, and then they developed him. And Buffalo did the same thing. I mean, they traded a left tackle, they traded a first-round pick, they traded 2 second-round picks to be able to move up and draft Josh Allen. And I think to myself, well, because Titan fans don't want to develop Anthony Richardson. And the thing that I would say is you can't want to be like those teams and not do what those teams were willing to do. So, like I said, I don't know the kid. I don't know if Anthony Richardson has it up here or, in the heart. I don't know those things. But as far as the pure raw talent is concerned, it is at the level of a Mahomes or an Allen or, it has been described by former general managers, including one that's got a gold jacket, as Cam Newton but better. And so I think at the end of the day, everybody talks about tanking, and I'm not saying tank, but I think it is the idea of like, look, this is going to hurt the 2023 football team, but Kansas City did it, and they've been to 5 straight AFC championship games. So that's how I view it. You can't want to be like those guys and then not be willing to do what those guys did.
Jared Stillman joins us every Friday morning at 7 o'clock here on the program. Jared, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet. Robbie, enjoy your weekend. Joe, do some homework.
Yeah, go eat some Rocky Road.
Thank you, Jared.
Hey, real quick before we go to break, I just want to do a quick shout-out. Aubrey Lusso had a hole-in-one yesterday, Franklin Bridge, hole 3.
Oh, sweet.
Shout out to Aubrey, 12 years old, hole-in-one.
Oh, gracious.
My life will never happen.
Oh, yeah.
Nice job, Aubrey.
I got within about 10 feet of the cup on one shot yesterday, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Awesome. Knock it out.
On a par 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's close as it'll get. It's not getting any closer.
All right.
Shout out for that. 12 years old, hole-in-one. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on what Jared Stillman had to say there. A lot to react to there from Jared. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Genesis Diamond's most anticipated event of the year is coming next weekend, April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Huge store-wide savings, plus the unveiling of thousands of new, unique designs from the biggest names in jewelry. All new collections from names like Tacori, Verragio, and more. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, many never seen before, all specially priced. Save up to 35% store-wide and get zero interest financing. Special pricing on natural and lab-grown diamonds, April 21st through the 23rd. Only at Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Jasper's on West End Avenue is your neighborhood bar and restaurant. They offer a fun atmosphere with a game room, TVs, a large bar, lounge area, and patio seating. Plus, free parking. That's right, free parking on West End. Come into Jasper's today to enjoy their elevated bar fare and well-crafted cocktails, along with other weekly specials like happy hour, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m., and brunch Friday through Monday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's Jasper's on West End, Nashville's place to gather, play, eat, and drink.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Protect your engine better with new Syntec Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec High Mileage is formulated for today's engines with over 75,000 miles. Now get 5 quarts of Syntec High Mileage and a MicroGuard Select oil filter for just $34.99. Limits apply. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Joyland in East Nashville. You can get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy the best burger in town. Find some joy today and eat Joyland for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week at thegamenashville.com. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Thanks to Jared Stillman for joining us in the last segment. Lots of things to react to there from Jared Stillman. Do you feel like, Joe, you're ill-prepared after not listening to Jared do his show yesterday?
I'll never listen to his show again. That's my vow. That's my promise to you. To
no
the
more
listener,
Twitter.
To the reader.
No more show.
Yeah, exactly. I
enjoyed every last second of it.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yep.
Someone did point out. Look, I will say this for Jared. I mean, I think Jared made a good case there, for why on Richardson. Now, there's plenty of examples of teams doing what the Chiefs and Bills did and then not working out, right?
Sure.
I will say, Zach, this is pretty funny. I love how Jared is easily swayed by a former GM's opinion. I wish every former GM would have a different opinion every day about the same players so Stillman would get whiplash from flip-flopping. That's pretty good. But no, look, those two examples, those are two recent examples. Those are two of the best quarterbacks in the league, two of the best teams in the league, and they did that. They were willing to mortgage some. I mean, because that Kansas City Chiefs team, that's a team that still, won the division, right? Had a home game, hosted the Titans in a playoff game, even after drafting Mahomes in the previous draft, rather than using draft capital to help their team. How much better could that team, that Alex Smith quarterback team, have been had they not mortgaged some future to get Mahomes? We all know how it worked out. If you tell me it'll work out that way with Anthony Richardson, then yeah. But I mean, if you want to try to go apples to apples on that one, I mean, Mahomes was still a very effective and prolific college quarterback, at Texas Tech. Like Mahomes as a quarterback at Texas Tech, a lot less people saw him because no one watches Texas Tech. They're in a bunch of 45, 42 games, wins and losses. And then there was, with him at that time, there was a lot more system quarterback. It's a little different than Richardson, who has been, just in performing at the position, has been wildly erratic. All right, what are you laughing about?
Jared sent me a text and told me to read a text message on the air, and I'm not sure that he realizes. I think this text message is full of sarcasm, but I'll read it anyway. It just says, Joe, why do you think you can be a columnist without doing your homework? Everyone knows if they want to hear hard-hitting facts without any conjecture, Stillman and Company is the only true source. Asking for a friend. It's from a texter on the text line.
I'm just going to let that sit there and steam, kind of like one of Gus or Quinn's turds on the sidewalk.
There's always a way to bring Gus and Quinn.
Yes, we haven't shouted them out recently. The other day, Quinn just dropped one, just seriously, without breaking stride on the sidewalk. How do you do that?
Keep it moving.
Find some grass.
How you doing? Keep it moving out there.
Comes to mind right now for some reason. I don't know why.
ESPN came out with a piece yesterday. Now, TD was a part of it. And basically, it's ESPN NFL Nation going through some rumors, buzz rumors, answering some questions about all 32 teams around the draft. And like I said, TD was a part of it, talking about Skoronski and Paris Johnson Jr. and all these different things. They also had Matt Miller comment on this too, that works for ESPN. And it says, what we're hearing about the Titans draft, quote, people I've spoken with aren't ruling out the Titans trading into the top 5 for a quarterback, but I would consider it a surprise. An AFC exec said, quote, everyone outside of Tennessee thinks they'll trade up, but no one in the organization is saying it directly yet. That was the end quote from an AFC exec there. Tennessee considering several positions in round 1, and the most common scenario shared among NFL sources is Tennessee staying at 11 and aiming for a pass rusher, which that part of it was kind of interesting. But that's what Matt Miller had to say at ESPN yesterday, that everyone expecting the Titans to trade up, but no one in the Titans organization has said anything about that, which – I mean, I read that, and my first thought was I don't expect the Titans organization to be running around saying, "Yep, we're moving up."
Hey, let's tell us what. Let me tell you what we're going to do, because that happens a lot. Now, there's a lot of stuff that comes from a lot of organizations. Sometimes it ends up being along the lines of what happens, and sometimes it's completely different from what happens by design. So, but that is interesting. Someone brought up also on the text line today. Anthony Richardson, very good S2 score, by the way. We've talked a lot about S2 cognition recently. Richardson also in that 90, I believe, 90th percentile. So, I mean, that's good. That's
apparently Levis was good too.
Yeah, I mean, basically it sounds like, and I have not heard on Hooker. I've not heard anything about Hooker, but Stroud apparently did not do well, or did not do well compared to those guys. Is that and Charles Robinson said yesterday, that could cost him. What if C.J. Stroud is the guy who falls?
Oh.
I think the S2 stuff's great, and those guys are great, and it's a good tool. You don't want to.
There are limitations to everything.
Yes. I mean, mental processing is obviously hugely important. I think it does. Bryce Young having a 98, totally to me, I see that on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing for Richardson, given and I agree. I mean, he has all the talent in the world. That's also there. That to me speaks to a little bit better to the idea that he really could develop into a consistent player.
Well, look, I'll say, like, I'm pretty much on board with what Jared said in terms of, like, if you want to go get the guy, like, it's always going to be some level of risk, right? Like, there's, there are different types of risk in order to find your quarterback, but, like, if you're Vrabel and you're Carthon and you're the Titans sitting there evaluating Anthony Richardson, and you think that there is a decent chance that he can turn into that elite guy, then yeah, like, I'm all for it if you're the Titans and you feel that way. I don't know that I feel as strongly about Anthony Richardson being in or turning into that as other people do. I'm also not an NFL general manager or evaluator. So, obviously he's got physical tools. Everybody can see that. What is that going to translate to? How quickly can you develop him? All those things. He came out with a nice piece at the Players Tribune yesterday, which was interesting to read on Anthony Richardson. I mean, I like the guy. So
I missed that.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. So, like I said, I mean, if you're the idea of you can see the talent, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but go take a chance on that talent. I mean, I can get behind that, especially at that position because, as Jared pointed out, you do have Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen that are not going anywhere anytime soon, and you're going to have to find a way to get through them if you're the Titans at some point. Whether that's now or whether that's 5 years from now, the equation is going to be the same. All those guys are still going to be there. And
That's
there's
right.
Herbert and everybody else.
That's right. But, hey, just go get Caleb Williams next year.
Well, could do that.
Problem solved. Maddie says if Stroud falls, they should trade their mothers to get to 3. Whoa, jeez. I should punch my mic in protest of that.
Look, I understand that there's some chatter out there about, like, the Texans right now and what exactly they're going to do. And we talked about the agent thing yesterday. Like, if you're operating, I don't want to work with that agent, so I can't draft C.J. Stroud. It's like, well, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah, you're host.
Granted, the Texans have been pretty stupid lately, so who knows? Maybe that is the way they're going to operate.
That is true.
But, like, I think would be pretty surprised if Stroud falls to 3.
But what if it's because Richardson goes in one of the top
Well, it could be.
spots?
Well,
that could happen.
It could. I'd be surprised, but it could.
I'd be surprised too, but all these things we're talking about, yeah, they're talking about too. And again, also out there, I haven't read the Players Tribune piece, but I think the general consensus from reporting around the league is his interviews have been fantastic.
Yeah.
So the Titans will get that. The Titans will get that chance here in a few days, and I mean, who knows? He could absolutely blow them away, and it may not matter because he's going number 1 anyway. To the Panthers.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll continue the conversations on the quarterback coming up next, including Hendon Hooker and why for some out there he's pretty hard to evaluate heading into this draft process. We'll get into that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Cousins put it in front of the score. Tomasino lofts it in. 2-0 Nashville.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with your family with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
Family Leisure has 40 spas on display from 3 of the biggest brand names: Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select. Prices starting as low as $29.99.
What about above ground pools?
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. Guaranteed installation before Memorial Day, starting as low as $29.99. Installed.
Wow, that's great.
If you're looking at a spa, I want some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has patio furniture from all the big brand names like Hannemint, Woodard, Jensen, and Apricity. There's more than 100 sets on display to choose from with free delivery.
That sounds good to me too. And maybe a new Sabre infrared grill to go with it?
We really should look at the wood play gym for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. It's Family Leisure's Vacation at Home sale going on now at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Family and fun come together.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Nobody does happy hour like Twin Peaks, from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails give you a drink menu second to none. Oh, and don't forget about the Twin Peaks 29-degree man-sized drafts.
Interest rates are up, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Don't sweat it out another summer. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off. Or get 18 months of no payments so your first payment's not due till fall of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Book your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com. And happy spring.
Avenged Sevenfold in concert. The wait is finally over. A7X. Friday, September 22nd, Bridgestone Arena. Special guest, Falling in Reverse. Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Avenged Sevenfold. New album out June 2nd. Buy tickets at livenation.com. 102.5 and 106.3, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robby and Rexrode 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. David James here with you on this Friday morning. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Make sure you tune in later this morning at 8:45 for your chance to participate in Pred's Pick to Click. Brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they're referred to so often. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Adam from Portland. Adam, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Robby, Joe, man, I've been so passionately against this topic. That's why I've called you guys so much this week, because I feel like it's kind of comical, but I know, like, this is the only chance I have to talk about football, is to talk about these ridiculous drafts and evaluations of these players. But the thing that I always think about, because I remember, and I've told Jared this, is that he was really hyping Malik Willis last year. As much as he hates him now, he was like, that Malik Willis, you should do that arm. Like the dude did that. So that's why these conversations are goofy to me, man, because I don't know if it's Levis or if it's Hendon Hooker. Somebody's going to fall. They're not going to be – Malik was supposed to be a top 5 quarterback. He's third round. And somebody is going to do the same thing. So if you like one of these quarterbacks, you'll probably be able to get them in the third round, because they're like – this is just us talking. If it's NFL executives, they're not going to hit anything real to anybody. So I just think – I think the conversation's kind of goofy, man, and I think these guys could absolutely not be worth what everybody's saying they are.
Thanks for the call, Adam. Now, I agree that – some of these guys will not be worth the conversation we're talking about right now. None of these guys fall in the third round.
I was just going to say, no. I mean, you're right. Like, there's misinformation, but there's also good information that comes out now. I mean, like, typically, I've never seen a mock draft be exactly right.
No.
But I've seen plenty of mock drafts that get, 18 of the picks right, and just about everyone in generally the right area that we're anticipating. Last year was weird just because I think some people couldn't believe that quarterbacks would be that devalued and that they were that bad.
Right.
But there were a lot of people saying that.
Well, the conversation around these quarterbacks are totally different than the ones a year ago. Now, I would still say that based on what we've seen, there's probably more excitement about next year's quarterback class than there is this one. But the quarterback conversation this year is way different than it was a year ago. Like, I shouldn't say I have no doubt. I would be shocked if Stroud, Levis, Young, and Richardson aren't all gone in the first round. And I'm starting to move to being surprised if Hendon Hooker doesn't move in the first round too, for no other reason than the fifth-year option. Like, I think the fifth-year option at quarterback is important.
Yeah, if you're about to take Hooker and you're hoping he falls you in the second round, move up and get the fifth year. And someone will.
Well, and speaking of Hendon Hooker, I mean, the conversation around him right now, we've talked about the age thing with him, obviously the torn ACL. Like, honestly, like, I don't really care about either one of those. I mean, the ACL is a concern, but we know what ACL injuries and the recovery looks like with modern medicine and all that stuff. But it is interesting to watch how he's evaluated right now, and a lot of people are pointing to the Tennessee offense and the way that they do things and trying to figure out how exactly that's going to translate to the NFL level for Hendon Hooker when it comes to reading defenses and making timely throws and all those things. And there was an interesting piece at The Athletic, Joe, that came out that kind of highlighted some of those concerns about Hendon Hooker as well.
Yeah, here's a piece I've read. Have you read this, Jared? Jared's mad that I haven't read the Players Tribune Anthony Richardson piece yet.
Yes.
So I'll do that for you today, Jared. But this one is interesting. Ted Gwynn, friend of the show, and I think he does a good job. He does a good job with some film here of showing some of the hesitation. Again, it's just now, I don't care about the 25 years old. He mentions that. Everybody's going to mention that. I don't care about that. I don't
really know why an NFL team would.
I think that's overblown. The ACL, sure. It cost him some of the draft process. I mean, if he could have done some things during this process to help himself, he wasn't able to do it. I don't think that's a huge concern. But what he brings up here, of course, is just this offense, Art Briles offense. And it's just, there are just things that, and we've talked about this, but again, this piece just does a good job of kind of laying out how different this is from other offenses and how different it is from what he will do in the NFL. And there's just a lot of half field reads, but again, even with that, the half field reads, again, there's a lot of quarterbacks who come in the NFL now who have been successful, who have been in offenses that basically you're being asked to read half the field. But even with that, though, there are the splits, the routes, the particular reads. It puts defenses in a bind that does make it easier for the quarterback. So he has some. Like one example he gave, which actually I didn't hate this throw at all. He kind of stared it down a little bit, but it was that pick at Georgia, right?
Yeah.
So
the Ringo pick.
Yeah, Keely Ringo, and it's a one-on-one. And he put it up there, and he didn't throw it perfectly, so you want to throw it a little bit better, but basically the coverage could not have been better. It was an NFL cornerback who is Ringo going in the first round? He's probably a second rounder anyway, right?
Second rounder.
Yeah, second rounder goes up and makes a great play. So here let me read a little bit from Gwynn. This play exemplifies one of the flaws of this style of football. Your receivers have to be significantly better than the opposing defensive backs to win deep play after play. That sort of talent gap doesn't exist at the college level against a team like Georgia. Rarely does in the NFL. Another way this offense can be detrimental to QB's development is there aren't a lot of built-in answers against the blitz. A lot of time, you got seven-man protections. You have a deep choice route. One guy get open. The NFL quarterbacks have to have a variety of answers against the blitz. Bottom line is, Hooker has to answer and has been asked and has been answering all these questions about, okay, now let's look at this in a traditional, more NFL offense when now you have to try to diagnose the coverage and it's not, you're not basically like kind of tilting the field in your favor with your scheme, this, go through it. I have no doubt that Hooker can answer those questions, and again, I think he's going to be a good quarterback because I think we saw enough from him doing a lot of different things, including off-schedule plays where he had to read things and go through progressions and make good throws. I think he'll be fine. But it is like this is part of why he's going to go where he's going to go, as I think he's the fifth quarterback of these five. And again, Heupel needs Hendon Hooker, I think, to prove that you can play in this offense and then go to that league and be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think Heupel needs it. I think Hooker, when you look at the way Tennessee's offense was run, there are still elements, like you said, that I think translate well. I think his elusiveness translates really well to the NFL. Obviously, he's got some ability to escape and move outside of the pocket. All those things are good. I mean, the one thing that I think is valid that that is we've talked about a lot here, like the wide splits, you're not going to be able to do that, and you're not going to be able to create those matchups in the NFL. So, I mean, we know this moving from college football to the NFL anyway. You got to make way more tight window throws in the NFL than you have to make in college football. It just is what it is at that point. Now, we've seen Hendon Hooker make some tight window throws too, and one of the things that everyone talks about, and it's included in this piece too, is everybody feels pretty good about the arm strength that Hendon Hooker brings to the table too. So the ability to make tight window throws. Yeah, he didn't have to make a ton of them last year, but he did have to make some, and I thought he made a lot of them really well last year.
And Matthew from Jolton brings up something that's really important, and Alex Golish more than once said this to me when talking about Hooker and about basically why he's so good. It's like, I mean, whatever offense you're in, like, he doesn't throw interceptions.
Right.
So, again, I just mentioned the one against Ringo, and he did. He threw, at least one pick against Georgia last year too. So sometimes against the best of the best, he did. He had one against Bama this year. But the lack of interceptions, like, don't overlook that. That's a huge deal. Whatever offense you're in, the fact that he takes care of the ball, that again, that's part of why I look at him, and I just think the overall package says, he's going to be able to get it done in this league.
Well, in this piece in The Athletic, it talks about where Brugler's got him. He's the number 5 quarterback in the class, number 49 overall in his top 100 rankings, a second-round grade. But they bring up some comments that James Palmer said on the Cut to It podcast with Steve Smith. You want to hear what teams think of Hendon Hooker? There are plenty of teams that have him above the bottom 2 that you mentioned, talking about Richardson and Levis. There are plenty of teams that have him 3rd on their list, right below those top 2 and Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud.
That's how I rank them.
Plenty of teams.
I'm basically a team.
Right. Like, what does that mean? Like, does somebody love Hendon Hooker enough to move up significantly in the first round? I don't know that I mean, like, number 5 overall, like Tannenbaum had him going, but like this idea that you could get Hendon Hooker at 20 if you're Seattle, or somebody could trade back up to pick 25 or 26 and get him. Like, does somebody love Hendon Hooker enough where he's gone at 11 or 12 or 14, somewhere around there? I don't know. I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, I feel like even teams that feel that way probably have confidence that they can wait some. Like, I still think he's going to go 5th of the 5.
I would agree.
But it could be, I mean, Michelle's called shot. Could be a good one. All 5 in the top 15. It's possible.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode. We have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. This is 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want to jump into the mind of a 15-year NFL vet? Well, here's your chance. It's Ask D-Mace.
Come on, bring them on.
Ask questions on football and life to Derek Mason every Friday at 12:30 on Ask D-Mace.
Don't mess with her. The skilled guy. Money reigns supreme.
On Caroline, Willie, and on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Oh, man, the NBA playoffs are here, folks. Very exciting. You can get on the action right from the first tip with FanDuel. Joe Rexrode here letting you know that all customers get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. We got a lot of weekends of NBA playoffs coming up, folks. You just place a 3+ leg same-game parlay or a same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game, and you get bonus bets back if you don't win. 2 legs, again, I like the Dubs against the Kings in Game 1. And Andrew Wiggins over on the rebounds. I know that's weird, but I think Andrew Wiggins is at least going to have effort and going to bring a lot of energy to the Warriors lineup in Game 1. No better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. You got promotions. It's safe. You get paid instantly. It's very easy to use. Visit FanDuel.com/Joe102. Get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the NBA playoffs. Again, FanDuel.com/Joe102. FanDuel's official sports betting partner of the NBA. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is now withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
It's time for another Kubota field event at Coleman Tractor of White House. Their biggest sale event of the year will take place in White House on Saturday, April 22nd. Don't miss this perfect opportunity to demo Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers. Receive a coupon for up to $250 off select purchases. Plus, enter to win prizes and free barbecue lunch from 11 to 1. Try it and buy it during the Kubota field event Saturday, April 22nd from 9 to 2 p.m. at Coleman Tractor of White House at 3613 Highway 31 West.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring store-wide sale is coming. April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. 3 incredible days of store-wide savings. Up to 35% off engagement rings, earrings, bracelets, wedding bands, plus special financing. Even Genesis GIA-certified diamonds are marked down. Lab-grown diamonds, too. Plus, top jewelry designers are flying in with all new amazing designs. You can't miss this annual event. Save up to $10,000 on some items. It's April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd only. And only at Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Spring into action. Take the short drive to Social Furniture on the West Side. You'll be amazed with Social Furniture's huge selection of top quality, name brand furniture. Social Furniture has your dream furniture on sale now during our spring home makeover sale. Why shop at Social Furniture? Great furniture, great service, great prices. Full service, hassle-free delivery, and interest-free financing with no money down. Make Social Furniture a great place to furnish your home. If you want a deal, don't wait, shop now.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the money I saved and the way I'm treated.
He's got big takes.
It's not that freaking hard. Hand the ball to Henry.
Small takes.
You have to defend your decision.
But all takes.
They win, they lose. Just invested a lot into this game. I thought it was the worst press conference.
He is Jared Stillman.
I guess I'm just not a very good coach, Jared.
Weekdays from 2 to 6, Stillman and Company. Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Glorious. Victorious. It's so stupid. It's a terrible song.
And it is that time of the day, a glorious time of the day here on the program. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the show. Joe, the last time for a while that we'll hear glorious inside Bridgestone Arena tonight. The season finale coming up for the Preds.
Yeah, well, hey, may as well play it at every opportunity. Make it the goal song, too. Why not? Put it on a banner.
Joe, the floor is yours for your Rex Rant today.
First of all, I need to correct myself. Aubrey Lusso, shout out. I gave the shout out earlier. Hole in one, Franklin Bridge, par 3, 125 yards. She's 13. She's not 12. My bad.
There you go.
But again,
still impressive.
Hole in one at that age, something I will never do in my entire life.
At
Maybe you will.
At any age.
You are a golfer. You may get it done at some point.
I don't think so.
You never know. All right, we've talked about this some, but I'd like to do a little exercise here. Just to remind all of us, because we're all yelling and we all have our takes, and it's especially in a city where a quarterback is potentially going to be drafted. No idea if that'll actually happen, but it's possible.
Yep.
There is a chance. the lead up to every draft on quarterbacks. Like, you don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. Please just keep that in mind. And maybe I do the same thing. I don't know. But like this, I mean, I guess I should. I'm sitting here and I'm guilty too because I'm bullish on Bryce Young. Someone just texted, like, what would you upset if Bryce Young is at 3? I said, trade the world. So I'm pretending I know too, but I don't know. I mean, if you tell me right now that Bryce Young's going to totally flame out and just be like an average like backup in the league, like that doesn't register on the list of surprising things. Nothing should ever surprise you when it comes to an NFL quarterback not making it. They almost always don't make it. So let's just go back. Let's go back to, I don't know. Let's go back to 10 years, okay? Let's just go through the first-round quarterbacks. 2013, there was only one. It was E.J. Manuel to the Bills from Florida State. 2014, you got a little Blake Bortles. You got a little Johnny Manziel.
Oh, boy.
And a little Teddy Bridgewater. Now, Teddy Bridgewater was trending pretty well before one of the worst knee injuries the league's ever seen. But still, 2015, we all know what that was. It was Jameis and it was Marcus and it was they're both going to be all-time great quarterbacks,
Good
but
Lord.
who's who?
That is a heck of a 3-year run.
2016, Jared Goff, and of course that's the pick that the Titans traded. He's fine. Carson Wentz, Paxton freaking Lynch.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Sure,
the Memphis Great.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, 2017. The Bears, that Mitch Trubisky pick. What a great job by the Bears. Mahomes goes 10. We talked about that one. That's a beauty, man. That's an all-timer. And Watson 12 to the Texans. Okay, I mean, he can play. Baker, number 1, QB1, number 1 overall. Baker Mayfield, 2018. Sam Darnold, number 3 overall. Josh Allen, there you go.
Yep.
But right after him, Josh Rosen. And you do have Lamar Jackson. So, look, I mean, in that draft, I mean, at least you had like 2 that worked out. 2019, QB1 overall, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, obviously a tragic story personally, but before that, I mean, it's a bad pick. It's like most quarterbacks don't work out.
Yeah.
Now 2020, you got Burrow, Tua, and Herbert, and Jordan Love.
Oh yeah.
And we still all these stories are not written. It's funny because Burrow, yes, Burrow's going to be great. He is great already. Herbert, we think so. Yeah, he's very talented. So we'll see.
Just waiting on the best QB of that draft to start things rolling this year.
Yeah, like I think Tua, I think that Tua last year changed the story on him. A lot of people were, shoveling dirt on him, including a certain radio host, so I need to listen to more often for his takes. And then, we'll see on your guy, Jordan Love. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance in 21. And then, of course, last year was only Kenny Pickett. It just, there you go. There's 10 years. So of all those, you actually did have, I would say in a 10-year stretch, the fact that you have how many guys who are going to wear gold jackets? Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen, I think. And maybe Lamar.
Maybe Lamar. Lamar.
And who knows? I mean, look, even like Herbert. I mean, like it can work out. This is why you do it. This is why you try to find these guys. But look at just the absolute disaster picks all through there. And this year, in all likelihood, one of these guys is going to be what people hope.
Yep.
And then maybe a couple will at least be like pretty good. And, I mean, Tannehill's an example of a guy who was not what the Dolphins hoped he would be. But in the end, it's going to be a guy with a good career. I mean, top 50 quarterback. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
That was a joke. But in all seriousness, like maybe a couple who are at least they have okay careers, and then a couple are probably just going to be complete disasters. And it could be any of them. So my point is, like, we don't know. And I pretend like I know too, so I'm guilty of it as well. It's fun. But, like, I see every single argument for all these guys every day and against them, and with such conviction, You don't know, man. I absolutely believed, I'll call myself out this for the rest of my life, that Ryan Leaf was going to be a better NFL quarterback than Peyton Manning. I thought Peyton Manning was going to be great, but Ryan Leaf, I was like, oh, yeah, that's Dan Marino 2.0.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, I mean, think about Jamarcus Russell, right? I mean,
oh, boy.
Those are probably the two examples we bring up the most.
Charles Robinson on him back in the day. Oh, I need to find some of that stuff.
He can throw the ball 70 yards from his knees.
Great. That'll help him in an NFL game.
Well, to your point, I mean, first off, it's what makes it fun, right, is trying to identify the quarterbacks that are going to be able to get to the next level and give you a chance to be great and be a chance to have those elite guys for years to come as they move forward. But like you said, I mean, you rolled through some names there that have worked out really well. You rolled through a whole lot of names there that were total flameouts in the first round at quarterback. And that's just the way – look, that's the way things go in this league. And what you're hoping if you're a team that drafts one of these is you trust your scouting, you trust your gut, and you trust that you've made the right decision at quarterback. You know, we talked about this earlier this week, like for the Titans standpoint, like just because you've had some picks in the first round in the past that haven't worked out, like that has nothing to do with this process and this draft and all those things. But I do think what you can take away from the Titans' history of drafting quarterbacks in the first round is it's very hard, and it's very hard to make sure you land the right guy in the right year, in the right situation. All those things are really difficult to do.
Yeah, you know what we need to do next is I saw a site that has it all gathered together, all the first round quarterbacks picked by each franchise. That's a funny one too. You want to go, and especially with some franchises. You know, part of this is development and situation and just right place, right time, or wrong place, wrong time. Go to Detroit, play for the Lions, you're probably wrong place, wrong time. Chuck Long, Joey Harrington, those guys might have been great somewhere else. So
Joey Harrington, man, that's a blast from the past.
Joey Harrington could ball.
Yeah.
Another great Oregon quarterback. But that's definitely a part of this. I mean, without question. So from the Titans' perspective on that, I mean, I feel like they're capable of developing a quarterback. Again, if you don't think so, then you got real problems.
Yeah.
But some are better than others. I mean, I think Brian Daboll, leaving the Bills, is there a coincidence that Josh Allen threw more picks and kind of faded last year? I don't know. But obviously that guy has a special gift for doing that stuff.
Chip from Mount Juliet on the text line says, Joe, it's the best take on quarterbacks I've heard. All great points. This is from Chip from Mount Juliet on the text line.
Why, thank you, Chip.
Yes, thank you very much. I got another text that says, the problems with these quarterbacks is every single one of them requires persuasion and justification. The teams that are at the top of the draft are so desperate, they're like a guy who never gets a date and gets engaged without living with her. This is from a texter on the text line. There you go.
Without living with her? Living in sin?
What are we doing?
That's my next Rex rant.
We'll check it out on Monday. Coming up at 7:45, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Teron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter and host of Talking with TD. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All the big plays.
Ball right to score. Yossi sets up Matt Duchene.
All the big stories. For the Predators, are you holding on to what you got, or are you selling some guys off? All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Green flag is in the air.
It may not happen that way every game.
His shot stopped.
Gotta play better, gotta coach better.
TD Tigers.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
The Nashville Predators and the Minnesota Wild battled back and forth last night in the next-to-last regular season game at Bridgestone Arena. They were tied at 1, tied at 2, and tied at 3 in the third period. And then in overtime, our Bridgestone performance moment of the game. Now looking in front, Parsonen. He scores! So Parsonen went behind the back and between the legs.
What a play that was.
Juuso Parsonen with his 10th of the year. It couldn't have gotten any more dramatic than that from McDonough and Glass as the Predators won it in overtime, 2:44 in. Up next, Predators and the Cup champion Avalanche tonight. Pre-game at 6, game at 7.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatment, sex start, results vary.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime. ESPN's Turon Davenport talking Titans now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hyundai.com and welcome in the great Turon Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter and host of Talking with TD. TD, good morning. How we doing?
Hey, good morning. I love the intro music. You got my producer back there, David.
Sure
James.
do.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. TD, first off, shout out to you for breaking the Jeffrey Simmons news a week ago. Congrats on that. And what did you make of the deal for Jeffrey Simmons from his point of view and from the Titans' point of view as well?
Yeah, I think it's a great deal for both parties. You look, the Titans were able to keep it under $100 million, and they were able to get a little more wiggle room salary cap wise by getting that number a little more manageable at 10.7. So I think when you look at for Simmons camp, it's a good deal just from the perspective of that high guaranteed money. One of the things, his agent Paul DeRousseau was focused on making sure that, over the next few years, everything is covered. And I mean, you look, if Jeff doesn't play football anymore, by the time the contract's done, he will have made $76 million. That is, as he said, generational money. And then the fact that over 70% of it was guaranteed. It's just a great situation for both parties. I definitely would commend, Rand Carthon and the Titans, along with Paul DeRousseau and Simmons Camp. They did an excellent job.
Do you feel like TD basically just getting this in before Quinnen Williams in particular gets his deal done also as a money saver for the Titans?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think you also tack in Dexter Lawrence as well, with the Giants. It's just like any other position, with contracts. One sets the floor for the other. So now the Jets, Giants, they're on the hook. They have to beat Simmons' deal, and that's kind of how it works. So, yeah, it was good for the Titans to get out in front of it for sure.
TD, Jackson Smith and Jigba, there's a lot of, I guess, differing opinions on him in terms of where exactly he should go in the first round. And we've talked to you about him before. Is he clearly number one to you in terms of the receivers available in this draft, or would you go somewhere else with that distinction?
Yeah, I think he's clearly number one. Now, my favorite receiver in this draft is Zay Flowers, but you look at Smith and Jigba, the body control, the route running, the consistent hands, the yards after catch, all of that factors into him being a guy. He could play the slot, he could play outside. I think it's pretty clear that he's the best. You know, and anytime you have Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and their receiver coach, you know, saying that he's the best out of the three Ohio State guys, that says a lot.
So that said, is he the best enough to warrant taking him at 11?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that really depends on what's on the board. Good testament for what the Titans have been able to do just as far as set themselves up to where they could go multiple positions at 11. They don't feel like they have to go for a tackle. So he's one of the ones that should definitely, because he's the best at a position of need, so they should absolutely, you know, consider him at 11.
TD, how do you feel about the Titans right now as presently constructed at edge rusher? Obviously, we know Dupree is gone. They bring in Arden Key. You've got Harold Landry, who the last time we saw him play was incredibly productive, but he is coming off the torn ACL. Rashad Weaver is in the mix too. What do you make of how the Titans are stacked up right now at edge rusher, and I guess how much of a priority would that be if you were in charge of the draft for the Titans and maybe find somebody else in that position group as well?
Yeah, it's solid but unproven. I think you factor in Arden Key as well. That signing, he's with the money that he's gotten, it would be reasonable to expect him to be a 3-down player. So you put him in there. I think they're solid. You have to also look at the fact that you could bump Danico Autry outside, but I would by all means be looking. You know, you got Keon White, you got Tyree Wilson. You know, those are guys that could possibly fall to 11, and they're solid players. But then you look a little bit later, you know, you got a guy like Eric Hall out of Auburn. You got Will McDonald IV. I know they have interest in both of them. So I would definitely look at some of the top guys and just the whole position, because you could always you can never have enough pass rushers. That's the way I look at it. They could use more because it's relatively unproven. This, as you mentioned, Landry coming back from injury. Weaver is still ascending, so that's kind of what you're looking at.
TD, I feel like for the most part, we talk about the quarterbacks in this draft more than anything on a weekly basis now, which speaks to the fact that it is possible, right? That the Titans are doing their homework and they're not just doing it to do it. Like, it's possible that they come away from this thing with a quarterback. You've got S2 scores coming out. You hear about this interview or that interview. We all know about the workouts and everything. During this process, have you – I guess has your mindset on any or more than one of them changed significantly based on the information that's come out?
No, not really. I've remained steadfast that C.J. Stroud, in my opinion, is the best in this class. I love the playmaking ability that Bryce Young has and just the calmness under pressure. He's always cool. So that's something. And you look at, the wild cards with Hendon Hooker and the injury situation. A little back and forth just as far as like where you should select him, but he's clearly one of the top options. And Anthony Richardson has just continued to have that potential that you have with him. Is just that's what's so tempting. That's what makes you want to bring him in as your guy. But high risk, high reward. That's the thing you have to look at there. And then Will Levis, he's probably the fifth in my opinion out of that group. And I've remained the same with him. Is you just got to figure out, okay, are you getting the 2021 version or the 2022? And that's, you got to get inside, why there was a difference there.
TD, when you look at Jalen Hyatt, we all see the speed that he had at Tennessee. Obviously, he wins the Biletnikoff and had a great year last year. But there's the concern about the press coverage part of it. Can he get off of it at the NFL level? All those things. When you watch Jalen Hyatt, what do you see? And I guess how concerned are you about some of the press coverage things that people bring up with him as well?
Yeah, what I see with him is what I call easy gas, man. That guy, he accelerates really well, hits that top speed, and he's someone that I think, you just got to move him around the formation and find ways to, get him those free releases. That's the main thing. You're right about the press coverage. You have to wonder how he's going to be against that, because there's some dogs in the league, man, whether it's, Tre'Davious White, Jair Alexander, we can go on and on with corners that are really good. A.J. Terrell, I mean, there's a lot. So you want to see how he would be able to do against some of those top-tier guys. But the fact of the matter is that dude will take off for you, and he will make the deep catches. But you look at some of these games, he could run that slant too and catch that. So there's a lot that you could do with him, but I just think you have to really scheme him up to, make sure that he's able to showcase what he has. And when I say that, like I said, it goes back to center him in motion, having him, line up off the ball, those type of things.
No, that's a good point. I mean, he had those big plays and things like that. But he also, he ran that slant at the goal line and took the hit from the safety and held on too. Things like that, right? Yeah. No, he's I think a little more well-rounded than some people think. Do you feel like at that position, like how important? Because Vrabel has talked about speed. We all know that this team, needs that badly. Needs like more speed. But also, like, I love a guy like Cedric Tillman. I know that he doesn't exactly fit the speed mold, but he does, I think, fit what they've done at outside receiver. Like, how important do you think it is that just that aspect of it, just that there's someone who can just take the top off of defense is for the Titans to come away with this draft with?
Yeah, I think it's critical for them. And the thing is, you look at these guys that have speed, but I tell you, it's just – you have to be able to utilize that speed quickly. And when I say that, what I mean is be able to come in, get comfortable, get settled in so you could play fast, play to that speed. Because a lot of times you'll see these speed guys come to the league and you're like, yo, what happened? And it's because their head is spinning, having to convert a route against this coverage and so on and so forth. So they're thinking so much so they can't play fast. So I think, along with the physical speed, you got to have that mental processing ability, and that's something that you look at a guy like a Tyler Scott, who did a lot there at Cincinnati, ran an assortment of routes. He's someone that I think could come in and have an instant impact, and that's the main thing. I believe this year they're going to look at more than just the size of the receiver because they're placing a premium on how fast they could be.
TD, last thing for you here. What did you make of the Odell Beckham Jr. deal to the Ravens? 1 year, $15 million, up to $18 million in the contract as well. What do you make of that deal and the fit in Baltimore?
Yeah, my first thing was wow when I saw the numbers. They signed Nelson Aguilar as well. I think, they're making a dedication to getting that receiving core better. I hope it is, but my thing is, will Lamar be there? And that's the main part of it. I love the fact that they have a new offensive coordinator, and Todd Monken coming in there so they could get rid of some of those, very elementary passing concepts they had before with Greg Roman. So I'm hoping to see things take off, man. That's really what I make of it, and it's going to be interesting watching that happen. I just, want to see how Odell Beckham Jr. Reacts to, being in what is traditionally a run-heavy team. So we'll see what happens there.
Teron Davenport, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Friday morning at 8 o'clock. TD, great stuff as always. Thanks for being with us. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
For sure. Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Absolutely. Teron Davenport, our guest on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the draft. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared for Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there's actually big problems that can come from outdated old vintage HVAC systems. Older systems require more maintenance and results in higher utility bills. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Everybody wins with a trade-in credit and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacement. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This week at the Electronic Express Spring Clearance event, get instant savings of up to 40% off in every department, including all 4K TVs, laptops and tablets, housewares, gaming consoles, speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 3 years free financing. Shop the Spring Clearance event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark at Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Hotel. Looking for a romantic dinner with that special someone? Be sure to join us and try one of our signature dishes, like our Australian cold water lobster tail, flash fried to perfection, tossed in lemon butter. Did I also mention we've won the Wine Spectre Award of Excellence 7 consecutive years? Come join us for a memorable meal here at Omni and be sure to ask for Chef Mark.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Tens of thousands affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune are left with death, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, birth defects, and other serious illnesses. And along with the harm, so many worries.
My family drank the Camp Lejeune water. What if our health gets worse and we need more financial help?
How do I protect my VA benefits and get the compensation I deserve and need?
The answer is simple. Call James Harris Law, the experienced, trusted law firm that can get you significant compensation while protecting all your VA benefits. We're already fighting for hundreds of Marines, families, and civilians who drank Camp Lejeune water. But if you miss the deadline, you could forever lose your right to the justice you deserve. So call our Camp Lejeune legal helpline now. Now may be your last chance to receive full compensation. Don't delay. Call 800-704-9155. That's 800-704-9155. 800-704-9155.
Yes, we do have availability. Those dates for how many guests?
Andrea's Boutique Hotel is the destination to tie the knot.
Oh, you want the whole property?
She needs an assistant to catch the bookings bouquets.
249 guests, huh? Oh, and 3 dogs.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tune in to Nashville's best NFL draft coverage on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game for the first 3 rounds coming up on Thursday, April 27th and Friday, April 28th. Coverage presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment, D&M Development, Smoky Mountain Tops, Parman Energy, and B&B Flooring. Also, make sure you check out Nashville's best draft coverage on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. You can join us on location as we broadcast live from Wingstop, where Flavor gets its wings, located at 3300 Gallatin Pike in Nashville, coming up on Friday, April 28th. So looking forward to that as well. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. How about that? TD thinking Jackson Smith-Njigba is the best wide receiver in the draft, clearly #1 in the draft. And the comments from the coaches saying of Olave and of Garrett Wilson and all these wide receivers that have come out of Ohio State the last couple of years, maybe Smith-Njigba could be the best of all of them.
Well, let me just tell you, as someone who went to Ohio State's Pro Day a couple weeks ago, that will not stand for long.
No, it will not.
Because Marvin Harrison Jr. is better than Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yes.
So here you go, Titans. This is what you got to do. Go 0-17 and get both of them next year. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. Somehow get the top 2 picks in the draft for being 0-17, trade a bunch of other stuff to get the other pick, and just get that. If you get Caleb Williams thrown to Marvin Harrison Jr., you
Burrow
will,
and Chase
you will
2.0.
win Super Bowls, just too many Super Bowls to count.
Burrow and Chase 2.0
Yeah,
out there.
there you go.
Be good stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, I love I do really, in all seriousness, love the rule of in college you got to stay 3 years and then you can go play. He is the one example of guys that are like, yeah, you can probably play right now. You just come out and play.
He's also an example. It's interesting, and I don't think it's going to happen, but he's an example of a guy who could absolutely do what Jamar Chase did.
Yep.
Which is, you know what? I'm going to work out this fall and not take hits from a bunch of corners who want to prove themselves and safeties by taking my head off, and I'm going to go, I'll be the top non-QB picked in the draft next year. He could do that. I don't think he's going to, but it's something to keep an eye on.
It would definitely be something to keep an eye on there. TD also looking at the quarterbacks, he's got Levis ranked 5th, and we talked about this a little bit with Jared earlier. Like, I do feel like a lot of Titans fans really don't like the idea of drafting Will Levis. Some feel the same way about Anthony Richardson. The quarterback part of this is going to be interesting right down to the wire. We read off a piece from ESPN earlier that Matt Miller put out there of the Titans have not come out and said that they're trying to move up in the draft yet, which I'm like, well, it'd be a pretty poor strategy if they did. So, yes, I believe that the Titans have not said that. But there has been a lot of smoke around the quarterback position. And it doesn't mean that a quarterback is coming in the first round, but I do think – we've talked about the idea of taking a quarterback before with the Titans. We talked about it last year. With Tannehill, was it the time right to reset and maybe go after one of these guys in the first round? But I don't think any of us really ever thought that the Titans would take a quarterback in the first round last year. And then we know what happened. Malik Willis fell to the third round. You took a flyer on him, all those things. It does feel like it's a legitimate discussion and a very legitimate possibility for the Titans that they could go that route this year.
David on the text line says, I concur with Chip. Great takes, Joe. 3 exclamation points. Lots of relatives weighing on the text line.
Yep.
And now I'm led to believe I wouldn't take any QB in this draft. That's the thing. I mean, if you do what I just did, you could – I'm going through the team-by-team first-round picks in the Super Bowl era. It's actually a fantastic list. We'll have to do this sometime next week. It's great, man. Like, there's the utter – even your Packers, by the way.
Yep.
Obviously, we know they got – like the Colts drafted 2 great quarterbacks in a row, which is very – the Packers, so Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, before that, their first-round quarterbacks were Rich Campbell in 1981, Jerry Taggy in 72, and Don Horn in 1967. By the way, Rich Campbell could not beat out Lynn Dickey, the great Lynn Dickey, whose jersey I used to have. Don't ask me why. But, no, if you go through this stuff, you realize just how easy it is to make a terrible choice and how hard it is to make a good one.
Well, let's think. Just from the Titans, right? You've made 3 choices if you're the Titans in the first round of the draft with quarterbacks. Vince Young, Jake Locker, Marcus Mariota. Vince Young did win Rookie of the Year.
Steve McNair now.
Well, yeah, but he was – I'm just saying with the Titans, but yes, before that.
Yes. He played for the Titans, but technically he was with the Oilers.
Right.
Okay, well, while you're talking about that, can you name the other 2 quarterbacks taken in the first round by this franchise in the Super Bowl era?
From the Titans franchise?
Yes.
No, I cannot.
They're both I forgot that Jim Everett is one of them. Boiler Up legend, traded to the Rams, but then also Dan Pastorini, and that was actually good. That was a good pick. He was a good quarterback in the 70s. They just couldn't beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then Bud Adams fired everybody.
That did happen. But it's hard. To your point, it's hard to find those guys, but it does feel like that could at least be something the Titans consider here. Now, we've talked about this. Like the question I threw out there yesterday, if it ends up being an offensive lineman, what are the reaction of the fan base if that happens? Like if you get through this whole thing and it's like, and the Titans have drafted Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State to be their next left tackle. Like a lot of people weighed in yesterday and said, great, yeah, go do that. Go get your offensive lineman figured out and you can figure out quarterback later. Now, I have seen you can go figure out quarterback later. Caleb Williams is available next year, but go make the team better around the Titans right now. I'm like, well, those 2 things don't really add up. Like,
right, exactly.
If you're going to get Caleb Williams, you're probably going to be number 1 overall.
You're fanking or you're trying to win. Yeah, and Vrabel's not. I said the 0-17 thing, and Wes says if the Titans went 0-17, Vrabel and Rand would be fired.
Maybe. I don't think Rand
wouldn't be fired after this. He didn't build this team, right? Now, Vrabel, I guess, could be. Unless it was the 0-17 that everybody wanted.
Well, could be. I'm just saying. I mean, Amy Adams Strunk has proved she's not afraid to fire somebody.
That's true. And we're not afraid to be wrong.
We are not.
Say there's no way she's going to do it. Look, the much higher likelihood, we're getting a ton of mileage out of the quarterbacks, which is great. I'm enjoying the conversation.
I am too.
But, yeah, it's still, to me, way more likely that they are trying to be good this year and they're going to be boring and use their picks. And now if they find a way to trade down and get more picks, that'd be great. But they'll probably take their 6 picks and try to be better, and then they'll probably go like 9-8 next year. I'm sorry.
What do you think Jalen Hyatt is at the NFL level? And we know the speed. We know there's big playability. Is he down in, down out, 3-down wide receiver in the league that can, yes, take the top off the defense, but can make your ordinary 7-yard, I need to have a first down here play at the NFL level? What do you think he is?
That's a great question. Like, again, I will just comparing two guys who play at the same place, played together. I would take Tillman over Hyatt in general. Now, when you say that, it's like, okay, but what system? What are your actual needs and all that stuff? Even like for the Titans' purposes, I would take Cedric Tillman. But I think TD put it well. The easy gas. I mean, his acceleration, we saw it last year. There were times when, he was schemed open, and it was like, how is he 20 yards? But there are other times where people tried to cover him, and they couldn't. So and I agree. I think that was a great point by TD. Go back and watch some of his touchdowns. He had to take big hits and win, and win 50-50 balls and things like that. I think he got stronger. I think that needs to continue. I just like his demeanor. I think that he had I think so much of this is mental, and it's demeanor and approach, and I think he had a great humbling in Heupel's first year, and that slingshotted him into last year and into this draft. So I think he's going to make a mark in the NFL. I do worry sometimes about press coverage and just the difference in playing in this league against some of those DBs in terms of will he be like a great receiver. It's hard for me to project that, but I think he's going to be a good pick for a team, and he's going to make some big plays in this league.
I think he's going first round. I think he's going to end up going at the very back part of the first round because I think the speed is going to be tempting enough where somebody's like, yeah, we're taking that guy.
Yeah.
I think it'll happen probably. I said Giants earlier. That could be a landing spot, but somewhere in the bottom part of the first round, I think that's where he's going.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think he'll go ahead of Tillman. I think he'll go late first round. I'll be shocked if he isn't really impressing teams in interviews and all that. So yeah.
615-737-1025. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, it's time for Weekend Winners here on Robby and Rexrode. You are listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When it comes to NFL draft prep, there's no one better than TD. ESPN's Teron Davenport talks to the prospects.
There's 3 deals going at once, and whichever deal goes first sets the floor for the next one.
And brings you the best info on the Titans draft.
If Paris Johnson is the top player there, I think they would take him.
Teron Davenport, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8. TD on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to JarrettFire.com. JARRETT Fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Get a great deal on one of the most versatile tractors in the industry, the Kubota L, which is part of Kubota's tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Stop by Krebs Kubota today to bring home select L Series equipment for $0 down. 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800. Now through June 30th, see Krebs Kubota or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details. Krebs Kubota, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment dealer. Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Online at KrebsKubota.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
What if you could do business without busy work? With Ramp, you can. Ramp is the future of finance with smart automation, corporate cards, and spend management. Just imagine, no more expense reports or shuffling wrinkled receipts. No more slogging through invoices or getting surprised by unexpected charges. Just your business's big idea with smart spend controls, automation that crushes busy work, and real-time insights so you can make it happen. In other words, Ramp completely reimagined finance to make it work for your business. Get set up, issue corporate cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes. See how Ramp does finance. Join today and get $250 just for signing up. Just go to ramp.com/offer. That's ramp.com/offer to get $250 for signing up. That's ramp.com/offer.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message data rates may apply.
Nice run. It's great being back out on the mountain. You sort of disappeared for a while. Everything okay? Between you and me, it was lower testosterone. Lower T? Yeah. The doc told me once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to stay in shape. That's why I started taking Nugenix Total T. It's made a huge difference. Oh, I've seen that on TV. Is it for real? For sure. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster. It boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. My wife, my boss, my kids, everyone has noticed a change in me. Do they still give out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves? Yes, just send them a text.
Guys, text HEFTY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back in shape fast, absolutely free. Text HEFTY to 321-321. That's HEFTY to 321-321.
When you want live and local,
if they were just better at the offensive line,
you could be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's time to pick some winners. We hope. Robby and Rexrode have weekend winners for you now
on ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week, time for weekend winners here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on a lot of big games this weekend. 615-737-1025. The NBA playoffs getting underway. After tonight, I guess we'll have these stupid play-in games out of the way. We can actually get on with the playoffs. That'd be nice. That's happening this weekend. Preds in action for their final game tonight, taking on the Colorado Avalanche. We'll get into all that coming up. Quick standings update in the competition. Michelle Knezovic 4-2 once again with her lock this week. So another good week for Michelle. She's gone 4-2 with her lock every single week so far in the competition.
Pretty good.
I was 3-3, no lock this past week, and Joe Rexrode 0-6, no lock this past week in weekend winners.
I mean,
it's a tough one.
Now, granted, I'm throwing out random baseball over-unders, but come on. I can't get one?
Man, you got the over-under for you was tough last week. You had Phillies, Reds.
Yeah, and they hit 7,
They hit
right?
7.
I hit the under on 7,
Yes. So, it's a tough one.
Just one. It just, you know what? To me, it's just another good reminder. Keep those wagers small.
The standings in the competition, Michelle Knezovic in first place, 16-8, 4-0 on her locks, good for 20 points. Myself, 14-10, 1-3 on my locks for 15 points. So she's already built up a pretty decent lead in this competition. And Joe Rexrode, 10-14, 1-3 on his locks, 11 points. Let's try to avoid the 0-6.
Let's keep trudging forward, I guess.
Yeah.
If I can just opt out at any point, let me know.
David James is in for Michelle Knezovic today. We begin with the Predators and the Avalanche tonight at Bridgestone Arena. The season finale for the Predators. They got the win last night in very fancy fashion from Uso Parson against Minnesota between the legs in overtime. They take on Colorado tonight, who is playing for the division championship. David James, we begin with you. Straight up on the puck line, Preds and Avalanche tonight.
Hey, before you start, we'd really appreciate if you make some crappy picks this week.
Oh,
it's Michelle's fault she didn't get us her picks.
Hey,
I think she needs to pay for it.
Exactly.
Look, I gave her the opportunity last night. Told her what we were doing. No picks.
So help us out, David.
Well, okay, so I'll do it for you guys for this one pick, and I'll go Preds.
There we go. Preds tonight against the Avalanche.
I don't think that's a bad pick.
I do. I'm going Colorado Avalanche tonight in the game. Look, it's for the division. I think Colorado is going to come out, and you'll see top-level Colorado tonight, and I think that'll be too much for this Predators group. So I will go with Colorado tonight in the season finale. Joe Rexrode, the Preds and the Avalanche tonight at Bridgestone Arena.
Well, Mr. 0-6 says, Preds, this is their playoffs. This is everything. This is their last chance. They can play loose and free. They can try a bunch of Uso Parson and weird moves around the net. And I just think that they're gonna. They look at this as a chance to screw things up for the Avs. The Avs can lose the division. They lose tonight. I think the Preds are gonna pull it off.
Going with the Preds tonight against the Colorado Avalanche. We move to Sunday's highly anticipated matchup between the Grizzlies and the Lakers. Grizzlies minus 3.5 in Game 1 coming up on Sunday. I'll get started on this one. Give me the Grizz. Give me the Grizz minus the 3.5. I think it'll be a good game. I think Grizz will win by about 5 on Sunday. So I will take the Grizzlies minus the 3.5 in Game 1 against the Lakers. Joe Rexrode, the Grizzlies and the Lakers coming up from FedEx Forum on Sunday.
Apologies to David and your Mike Miller jersey. I'm going to go Lakers. I think, sometimes you see this. It's like, I guess it's sort of like the first 4 of the NCAA tournament. The Lakers have had to play this week. The Grizzlies have been off, a little bit of rust. I think the Lakers get them in Game 1, and then the Grizzlies slowly can take control from there.
David James, the Grizzlies and the Lakers in Game 1 on Sunday.
Whoop that trick. Go Grizz.
Going with Grizz in the matchup. Minus the 3.5 to take down the Los Angeles Lakers on Sunday at FedEx Forum. We move to the individual portion of the program. Joe Rexrode, your first individual selection.
So I'm with you. I don't love the play-in stuff, but you know what? I'm gonna have a couple of those on my ledger today. Thunder, T-Wolves. T-Wolves at home, minus 5.5. And this is to get the 8 seed. Give me the T-Wolves and giving those points at home.
So going T-Wolves minus 5.5 against the Thunder coming up today in the play-in game. David James, your first individual selection.
I'm going with the Cavs minus 5.5. I believe in Darius Garland. And just Nashville native. Got to go with the Nashville native.
Going Cavs minus 5.5 against the Knicks coming up in Game 1. That could be a pretty intriguing series. Looking forward to that one.
I'm in on that series. Yes.
I will start with this ridiculous play-in game as well. My beloved Miami Heat taking on the Chicago Bulls tonight. Heat are favored by 5.5 at home. That ain't happening. Give me the Bulls plus the 5.5 and make it my lock. I'm locking down on the Chicago Bulls plus the 5.5 tonight as they take on the Miami Heat. Secretly, kind of rooting for the Bulls to win tonight, so the Heat will make some changes, but I think for sure that they will cover the plus 5.5, so I will take Bulls plus 5.5 against the Heat. David James, your second individual selection.
So I'm going to also go in with the play-in game, the T-Wolves. My favorite basketball player from the Memphis Grizzlies, 2 of them actually, Slow-Mo, and the captain clutch, Mike Conley, will go over, I believe it is 228.5, over 228.5.
So going the over 228.5, T-Wolves and Thunder coming up tonight. I like that one. Joe Rexrode, your second individual selection.
Same pick you just made, Robbie, except not not a lock for me, but yes, I like the Bulls getting that 5.5.
So the Bulls plus 5.5 against the Miami Heat tonight. My second individual pick, I will stick in the NBA. We'll go Cavs minus 5.5 against the Knicks. I like the Cavs big in Game 1. I think Donovan Mitchell goes nuts. So give me the Cavs minus 5.5 against the Knicks. Our third round of individual selections. Joe Rexrode, go ahead and kick us off with your third pick.
Warriors-Kings, Game 1. Pick 'em. Warriors lock it down. Warriors win Game 1, establish themselves. And Warriors-Grizzlies, right? Round 2.
I love that.
Again,
Love that.
let's have it. Let's have it.
So going Warriors in Game 1, a pick 'em against the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento's not played in the playoffs in a very long time, so that place is going to be jumping. But Joe has, I believe, the Warriors going 16-0 in the playoffs and winning another NBA title.
Yeah, they'll lose a couple games.
Okay, good. We'll see what happens there. For my third individual pick, give me the Tampa Bay Rays, -1.5 against the Blue Jays. They're 13-0, and they keep things rolling today. I'll take the Rays minus the 1.5 on the road against Toronto. So give me the Rays to continue their run at history today and move to 14-0 minus the 1.5. David James, your third individual selection.
So I'm going to go to the Clippers versus Suns matchup. Now, I am big on the campaign of the Suns winning it all this year, but not this time. The first game is going to go to the Clippers plus 7.5.
Clippers plus the 7.5 against the Phoenix Suns coming up in a series that may be the most intriguing series in the first round. So looking forward to that one coming up and getting started this weekend as well. David James, go ahead and kick us off with your fourth and final individual selection.
This will be my lock. I'm the over 238.5 sack Golden State, baby. Lock, guarantee.
Two over-unders. I love it.
Kings at Golden State, and the number was 238.5?
Yes.
238.5 over on the over-under. So, I mean, I could see that definitely happening. If Golden State puts up 55 and a quarter like they did the other day, I can really see it happen.
Yep.
Joe Rexrode, your final individual selection.
Yeah, and I'm with David on this one big time. I'm big on the Clippers getting the 7.5, and I think it's a great series. I think this is the best series of the first round, and this is two teams that really could win the whole thing playing in the first round. You don't see that too often. But give me the Clippers in game one.
For my final individual selection, give me the highly anticipated matchup of the Buffalo Sabres and the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight in a game that means absolutely nothing. But give me the Sabres minus 1.5 against Columbus. Sabres end up closing out their season on a positive note. 2 games taking place in the NHL today, the Preds and the Avalanche, and then the mighty Buffalo Sabres and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Joe, I know you're looking forward to watching Columbus and Buffalo play tonight. Your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be at Bridgestone, but it'll be streaming on my phone for sure, man. You can count on that. You know how I like to watch phone sports.
Oh, yes. Big Sabres watcher, too. A lot of Buffalo Sabres hockey that we're going to consume. Lots of interesting games this weekend. All of us, me and David going with the Grizz, but you think LeBron and the Lakers sneak up on them in game one?
Yeah, I think they get them in game one, and I think then people freak out like always happens in these 7-game series, and the Grizz will figure it out. But I think the rust factor might be a little bit of too much for the Grizz in this first game.
It happened last year when they played the T-Wolves. So
yeah, exactly. Yep,
very possible.
Caleb on the text line says Memphis wins by 10 against the Lakers coming up on Sunday.
I'm sure our Lakers texter will soon tell us how
the sweep
Memphis will not score a bucket in the game.
Big opportunity for this Grizzlies team. I mean, Ja Morant, we saw it last year. That team took off, and then the Warriors were too much in the playoffs. It would be really cool to see them meet in the playoffs again. We could have some more Dillon Brooks drama. That'd be nice.
I mean, Draymond and Dillon Brooks, you get them in a 7-game series, you might need some extra security really,
yes.
On the
court.
More,
you need some more officials. Just make sure nothing happens.
Could be
awesome.
Ready
for it.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, it is time for the final edition of the season of Preds Pick to Click here on the show. We will do that next. Be the first caller, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 102.5 The Game for the 2nd annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs.
Be the ball.
Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at theGameNashville.com/golf.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with your family with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
Family Leisure has 40 spas on display from 3 of the biggest brand names: Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select. Prices starting as low as $29.99.
What about above ground pools?
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. Guaranteed installation before Memorial Day, starting as low as $29.99. Installed.
Wow, that's great.
If you're looking at a spa, I once some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has patio furniture from all the big brand names like Hanneman, Woodard, Jensen, and Apricity. There's more than 100 sets on display to choose from with free delivery.
That sounds good to me, too. And maybe a new Sabre infrared grill to go with it?
We really should look at the wood play gym for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. It's Family Leisure's Vacation at Home sale going on now at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Genesis Diamond's most anticipated event of the year is coming next weekend, April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Huge store-wide savings, plus the unveiling of thousands of new, unique designs from the biggest names in jewelry. All new collections from names like Tacori, Verragio, and more. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, many never seen before, all specially priced. Save up to 35% store-wide and get zero interest financing. Special pricing on natural and lab-grown diamonds, April 21st through the 23rd. Only at Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now, it's a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? An intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Hey, Robby Stanley here, and the NBA playoffs are here, and you can turn crossovers into cash with FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/Rob right now and place a $5 bet, and you'll get an instant $150 back in bonus bets, win or lose. So FanDuel, I've talked to you about it for a long time. They've got great promotions every single day. The app is safe and secure, and you get paid instantly. I like the Milwaukee Bucks coming out of the East, and I like the Phoenix Suns coming out of the West. But you can take it any way you want to take it. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Rob and sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet your first $5. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. You can see full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Got a gambling problem? Make sure you call the Tennessee Red Line today at 1-800-889-9789.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junnie Riddle for Michelle and Junnie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junnie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's time for Preds Picks to click.
And a shot at a score.
Do you think you know who will score a goal in tonight's Predators game?
Little give and go.
Shoot your shot for a chance to win Preds tickets. Call 615-737-1025 now. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are preferred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. It's Pick to Click, now on Robby and Rexrode.
The final edition of Preds Pick to Click here for this season, coming up tonight as the Predators take on the Colorado Avalanche. Preds Pick to Click presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. Preds taking on the Avalanche. Avalanche trying to win the Central Division tonight. And we know, Joe, as I made clear yesterday, I've already won this competition, but I will go over the standings anyway.
Yeah.
I with 17 correct answers, the listeners with 14, Joe with 11, Michelle with 8. Correct answers.
I didn't come in last.
You did not come in last. There's no doubt about that. With that in mind, let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Scott, who is today's participant. Scott, thanks for calling in. Good morning. Who is your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators?
Well, I was trying to pick between Cody Glass and and Mr. Novak, but I think I'm going to go Mr. Novak today.
There we go. Scott going with Tommy Novak. Scott, thanks for calling in. So Novak is off the board. Joe, I'm up next, as I'm sure you'll be happy to learn in the competition here today. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit off the wall. I'm going to Ryan McDonough. I like the way he's played. I think Ryan McDonough scores tonight.
And what do you care? Sure.
I mean, I won.
Yeah, you already won.
Novak off the board, McDonough off the board. Joe Rexrode, your pick to click for the Nashville Predators.
I mean, you got to go with Parsonen, right? After what he did last night.
I left him right there for you.
So yeah, give me Parson. But Parson, I want something fancy.
A little flair to it.
Yeah, let's try a little lacrosse goal tonight.
Novak, McDonough, Parsonen off the board. David James, your pick to click for the Nashville Predators.
Well, guys, I just want someone who can attack the goal, and I'm going Yak Attack.
Oh, yes. Yakov Trenin. A lot of Trenin love on the program here today.
I do.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Trenin.
We really have. There's been a lot of Yakov Trenin discussion today.
But, I mean, how could you not like Trenin, right?
Exactly.
Novak, McDonough, Parsonen, and Trenin. These selections in Preds pick to click. Preds with their final game of the regular season tonight against the Colorado Avalanche. And if you missed the Juuso Parsonen goal last night, go check it out. It's pretty awesome. Number 2 on SportsCenter's top 10 plays between the legs for the game winner last night. And, we talked about him before, Joe, but, it's been unfortunate, number one, that they've had as many injuries as they've had as a whole, but that he wasn't a part of kind of the group here, because I look at his skating ability and his size that he has, and I still think he could be pretty darn good for this team as they move forward. When he first got called up this year, we had a conversation, and, I said at that time, like, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be up here for a long time. And he has been up here since then, and I think he's going to be a pretty important part of what they do moving forward. But a good reminder last night of the skill that Juuso Parsonen has.
Yeah. Then a little shrug.
After.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And then after, for anybody who missed his post-game interview, he promised that he was about to dominate the league next year.
Yes. Just putting the league on notice. That's it.
There was a lot of bleeps were necessary.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good.
Not safe for work.
Yeah, for sure. So that
didn't really happen, by the way.
It did not.
No, it did not. No.
It did not. So the John Hines part of this discussion, we talked about it yesterday. I think just my read on the situation right now is that he's probably coming back. I don't know that. Could be totally wrong. That's just kind of the vibe, for lack of a better term, that I get, that John Hines is coming back next year to finish the last year of his contract. We'll see what happens on that front. My real question is, if that's the case and he is coming back, what is the reaction of the Predators fan base? How many people have shifted in their view of John Hines since the trade deadline, with all the young guys coming in and the job that they've done since then? How many people are still out on Hines? I would love to know what the reaction from Predators fans will be if it is announced that he is retained as head coach next year.
Here's the thing. If you're a Predators fan and you want a new coach and you don't think John Hines is good enough, that's fine. I mean, I can't sit here and argue with you and say, look at all this evidence that says he's a great coach. But if you're a Predators fan who thinks that, like, John Hines coming back next year is going to be, like, detrimental to the development of players, or that, like, his system is somehow not within the realm of, like, typical NHL hockey systems, I think you're exaggerating a little bit. So I'm guessing he's back too. I'm not going to be totally shocked if Barry Trotz decides to move on. I do wonder how many people today now are going to start talking about Spencer Carberry because of Adam Vingan's called shot.
Maybe so.
Adam Vingan's called shot. Spencer Carberry, assistant coach in Toronto, a Trotz guy, a minor league coach with Trotz in Washington, who has been the ECHL and AHL Coach of the Year. Spencer Carberry.
41 years old. Maybe that's the route they go.
Maybe this has been the name all along. And Trotz is, like GMs have to have a little list of their coaches. Maybe he's been the top of the list all along.
Well, you discovered yesterday that players are on Sunday for their post-season, end-of-season media availability?
The plan, as I understand it, is that players will talk Sunday and that David and Barry will talk Monday, and I'm not sure about Hines.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously.
I guess if he's fired,
well, he's probably not going to be talking. But obviously, like, that's going to be, until we hear from the powers that be on that front, that's going to be the main topic of conversation around the Preds the next few days is, what does it look like for John Hines moving forward?
Right. And the thing is, of course, well, do I go back and listen? Did you hear Jared's?
Yeah.
You did hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it critical? Is it a critical exchange at anyone?
I mean, I think non-committal, the word that he used, is probably the right word.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't need to go.
Look, it's up to you. If you want to, in his world, if you want to do your job, go back and listen, for God's sake.
Well, what I wonder is, I mean, it's been blissful for a year of having him muted on Twitter. Can you do that like on radio? Like if you I'm sitting, listen to our station, and then Jared starts talking, and it goes, wah, 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 and I don't have to hear what he says. It's
don't
like
know
a Peanuts adult. Is that possible?
I don't know that they've come up with that technology yet.
From what I've been told, no.
I mean, you got the Otter thing where they transcribe your audio now.
Yeah,
Why
there is
can't they
that.
do something like this? I would like Jared muted on my radio, please. But no.
There are other ways to do that.
Yeah, that's
Ian Safari, if you're listening, mute him.
Ian.
But, yeah, look, it's going to come up. It's going to be asked. And Trotz is probably, unless they decide they have to make a decision right now, he's probably going to say a lot of the same things, right?
I would agree.
It's a question that has to be asked, but
yeah, I mean,
the answer will come with the action.
The answer will come with the action, and we made the case yesterday. I mean, I look at the first half of the season, and it's hard for me to qualify it as anything other than a big disappointment with the way that this team played. And I look at everything that's happened since the deadline, and I think it's encouraging with the way some of the young guys have come in. Now, your job as Barry Trotz is stepping into this new role is to put all that together, along with your evaluation, which is a unique evaluation, being a very successful head coach in this league. You have a perspective that nobody else has taking this job. What does that all mean when you factor it in together? I don't know, but we're just a few days away from finding out, I would guess.
Texter says, does the way the young players have been playing indicate the veterans were not able to or willing to embrace John Hines' system? I will say he does get credit for the end of the year and how they played and the run they made, but also they were in that position because of how they underachieved and underperformed during the year. So like, both things have to count. Will from Nashville says, where is Agent 31 on Hines now? He probably still hates him.
Oh, he was.
Let's keep Agent 31 going. Will.
Agent 31
that's my
going.
key takeaway.
I mean, I think he's was undecided as of
which
7
is,
o'clock
which
this morning.
Is a change for him. I mean, that's interesting.
It is.
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe he really likes the job that John Hines has done with the young guys.
As someone who listens to him way more than I do, why is that?
I don't
why
know.
has he changed?
I don't know.
I'd love to know the fan breakdown. I do feel like there's a fair amount of fans who would like to see a coaching change.
You think Saros goes tonight?
Well, I asked you that during a break, and you said no, and you talked me into no. You know what? I mean, to me, it's like, can you help him in the Vezina? If he comes out tonight and locks down Colorado on a back-to-back, does that? So. I mean, he should be a finalist. He's not going to win it, right?
I don't think he's going to be a finalist.
You don't think he's going to be a finalist?
No. I think he should be. I don't think he will.
Who's the third one?
Sorokin. I think will be a finalist.
Yeah, that'd be too bad. That'd be too bad for Saros. But that is also the cost sometimes of not making the playoffs.
That's going to do it for us today on Robby and Rexrode. Chase and Michelle up next. This is 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Blown out in one game against a team that's just flat out better than you.
And your